Hello, friends. Today's episode is brought to you by From Within Records. If you're not following From Within Records on social media, please go boot up X, go boot up Instagram, click that follow button, stay up to date on all the current news. And like I always say, please support From Within Records because they support us. If you're looking for high quality merch for your band or for your business, please hit up my friends over at Good Fortune Printing out of Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. You can follow them on Instagram at Good Fortune Printing, or if you want to get in contact with them, please email them contact@goodfortuneprinting.com. You can thank me later. You know, I'm fresh off my trip to Wilkes-Barre, which I had an amazing time. Shout out to Jeff Feet First for being down to hang out. We have a Knoebels vlog that I will put out this week. I've gotten into the business of filming bands. So if you see me with a camera, don't hate me. It's a new thing, right? I filmed 3 shows so far. I've got 3 shows under my belt. I'm trying to catch up to Jeff. He's been doing it for years, but I thank him for all of his knowledge. I pick his brain. He sold me the audio recorder that I use to film shows, which I have to tell everybody that recorder was used to film the last, I hate saying last, or the latest title fight set that happened. It's on YouTube. Jeff filmed it. So I'm using the same audio recorder, which is amazing. But also he used that same audio recorder to record the Floral Green record release. So there's some pretty cool history behind it. And I just got lucky that Jeff was willing to part ways with it because it was an extra piece of equipment. Because I was going to buy my own recorder, but when Jeff offered up one that had some cool history attached to it, I was like, one, I get to support my friend, and 2, I get to just use this awesome equipment that is tied to some great history. But I'm doing that now. So I got 3 shows under my belt. I hope you guys like the video, the audio quality. You know, I'm still learning, but it's fun. I'm recording another show this weekend. Shout out to my friends over at Division 1 Booking Records, all that they do. I'm a huge fan. Go listen to the Hardcore Caviar playlist. You can hear First Degree. They put out a new track. Load the Nines doing crazy shit. I'm a huge fan of Division 1, and I'm filming an awesome show that they have a hand in putting on this weekend out in Pomona. Shout out Pomona, great city. But that's, something we got going on. Watch the Knoebels vlog. It was awesome. I want to give a special shout out to Caleb from the Peace Corps Bizarre Skate Shops for his hospitality, for welcoming me at the End of Summer Skate Jam, which I had a lot of fun at. I'm definitely going to return next summer. Right. So another reason for me to go back to Wilkes-Barre. The End of Summer Skate Jam was awesome. The vibes are great. Curry Donuts was awesome. I got the Wilkes-Barre donut, and nobody told me about the special donuts, but obviously this is like normal to them. So me walking into this local establishment and getting stoked that they have a donut named after the city, to them, they see it every day. But for me, I was like, I need that. This is crazy. Or maybe they're just gatekeeping, but I had to go and investigate, and the staff was so nice, and the prices out there versus here in California are so different. It was just mind blowing how cheap everything was out there. So shout out Curry Donuts. We went to Circles. I got a shirt. I still have not unpacked from my trip, even though it was like weeks ago. It was just thrown in the corner. But I have a shirt from Circles finally, because last time we went, did not have my size, but I'm in my XL era now, and they had my size. So I'm very excited to own an official Circles t-shirt. So if you see me out there, what the hell is Circles? Why is Jamie walking around with a number 9 on the back of his shirt with ingredients to a sandwich? It's from Circles. Do your research. But overall, it was great. Shout out to Nate Prosciutti, Matt Wren, two of my favorite people from out there. Got to meet a lot of cool new people, which is always great. So yeah, overall, great time. Love Wilkes-Barre. Cannot wait to be back. I wish it was sooner than later, but unfortunately, we got a lot of things going on. Korea is next month, and that is insane to me. Finally going to get to Korea. I was supposed to go last year, but I fell in love with this girl from Hawaii, and this whole thing happened. I'll tell the story one day, maybe in a vlog. YouTube's popping off. Thank you to everybody who's subscribing to the YouTube channel. But yeah, Korea's next month. Going to my first K-pop concert in Korea. We're going to see Kiss of Life on the first night of their world tour. They say world tour, but they've only announced the 2 nights in Seoul, which I will be at the first night. And then they come to America, which is insane. They're coming to America. And one thing that they're doing that most K-pop groups don't do, even though G-Idol's doing it, shout out G-Idol. G-Idol's tomorrow. But there's a couple things going on. I have a podcast scheduled. I got offered a free ticket, an Idol package ticket. Do I take it? Do I not take it? We'll have to see how I'm feeling. But G-Idol's in town. But G-Idol is starting this awesome trend where they're playing Orange County, right? They're playing the Honda Center, and then they're playing, which is okay. This is, in my mind, this is insane. G-Idol's playing Honda Center, right? This is where the Ducks play. This is a big arena. The UFC goes there. Big concerts go there. So G-Idol's playing Honda Center, and then G-Idol is going to the Novo, which is like a way smaller venue, which is crazy, right? I'm pretty sure I have that correct. But anyways, they're doing this awesome trend where they're doing Orange County and LA. So it's nice. I could just literally go 10 minutes down the road. Yeah, down the road, down to Katella, take Katella all the way down to the Honda Center, and boom, there's G-Idol, Neon, Oogie, everybody, Soyeon, everybody's there. But yeah, I don't know. I love G-Idol. I think they put out the song in the summer. Claxton, so catchy, so fun. But they're in town tomorrow. They're going to be at the Source. They're doing the whole thing. But anyways, getting back, Kiss of Life, following that trend, they're playing House of Blues in Anaheim. Insane. I think they're a lot bigger than the House of Blues, but whatever. They're doing the same thing. They're doing House of Blues and then the Novo. Insane. But I will see the first date of that tour, which is awesome. And I'm excited because the main reason why I'm going to Korea is because of K-pop. K-pop is this crazy obsession that I've had for the past 4 years. Started in COVID. And it just has not gone away. I just bought I just bought this vinyl. Walking to the K-pop store yesterday, shout out to the homegirl working at the K-pop store. She looks like Mina from Twice, or maybe Mina from Twice looks like her. I don't know. But trips me out every time because I feel like I'm dealing with Mina from Twice. But anyways, walked in and she shows me this vinyl. This is Taeyeon's latest mini album on vinyl, right? 2X. So I walk into the K-pop store to buy another version of LE SSERAFIM's Crazy, right? I bought the first version, and then I was going in to buy the second version, and I'll buy the third version probably like tomorrow or something. But Mina, I call her Mina, she's like, hey, do you want to buy this? Like, it has your name on it. And I'm like, what? My name on it? I was like, I didn't know they were holding this vinyl for me. And she was like, yeah, I didn't know they were holding it for you either, but it has your name on it. Do you want it? I was like, yes. Taeyeon is queen. Taeyeon is your idol's idol, if you don't know. But yeah, nothing but bangers. I love Taeyeon. So the fact that I just walked in, they had this random vinyl. I was like, yeah, I'll buy it. Love Taeyeon. Love the K-pop store, but yeah, that's the reason why I'm going to Korea is because of K-pop. So and Kiss Alive got announced after I planned my trip, so this is just like icing on the cake that I get to go to Korea and go to a K-pop concert. I might even go to more K-pop stuff. I don't know. We'll figure it out, but it's rapidly approaching, and I cannot wait because I've been wanting to do this for 4 years. I think I really started taking it serious after I saw it twice, and it was like a life-changing moment. I was like, all right, like I'm driving home from the Kia Forum, like full of mixed emotions. First of all, I was like kicking myself for only doing night 2 and not doing night 1 and night 2, because I was like, oh, I'll go to this K-pop concert. I don't really know what to expect. Yeah, I spent a lot of money to get front row, but I wanted to make it memorable for my first time, and it was seeing twice, and only seeing twice from like YouTube, and then now it's like, okay, we're going to the Kia Forum, front row, OT9's there. It's gonna be a crazy moment. But yeah, driving home, mixed emotions, because I was so happy, but I was so sad that I only experienced one night when I could have experienced 2 nights. So I was like, whatever, next time they come around, we're doing everything. I got to get to Korea because it has this crazy just stranglehold on my life, and it's insane. So I love it. It's finally happening. In about a month, we'll be in Korea doing a lot of cool stuff. But I don't even know how we got on this rant. That's not why we're here today. Why we're here today is because my good friend Tyler Short is back on the podcast. I fucking love Tyler Short. I could talk to Tyler Short forever. Like, we have to stop our conversations. Honestly, this conversation only stopped because he had a hard out. If he didn't have a hard out, we probably could have gone 6 hours. I'm not even kidding. But I love talking to Tyler. He's awesome. I'm actually going to Louisville. Breaking news. I'm going to Louisville in November. If you know, you know. But anyways, Tyler is on the show today because we are talking about Echo. Very underrated. I'm going to be honest. Underrated Disney Plus show. Disney Plus, Marvel, going through this whole weird revamp, but it's all good. Echo was fun. 5 episodes in and out. I will recommend it. And I will honestly say I enjoyed it way more than I thought I would. So do yourself a favor. If you have not seen Echo, go watch it and prepare, because Agatha is coming out next month. And then we got Daredevil right around the corner. This MCU stuff is never ending. And I feel like, you know, it's been in a weird spot with the Jonathan Majors, not putting out the best product, right? I think Deadpool is a reminder, like, okay, hey, this thing can still be fun, even though Deadpool wasn't like mind blowing. Like, I still think like the last great MCU film had been Spider-Man, right? But we're not stopping. Tyler and I will talk about the MCU till there is no more MCU, which we hope that will never happen. But yeah, this was just another fun addition to our long-running series of MCU conversations. And I feel like I should publicly say this, because if you look at the timeline of episodes in order from this episode, it's this new Tyler episode 443, and then we have Rayhan from Through and Through, shout out Providence, Rhode Island. And then before that, we have Baltimore's very own Eulogy. Go listen to Forever Hate, out now on all platforms. And then it was Tyler, right? So you're all like, why is Tyler on again so soon? There's multiple reasons, and I just feel like I have to break this down. Obviously, because we scheduled this, we're like, hey, when we did Deadpool, we're like, hey, next month we're going to come back with Echo, and then he'll be back again next month for Agatha. But there was supposed to be 4 episodes in between that, right? In between Eulogy and Rayhan, there's 4 episodes. But unfortunately, and this was really bad timing, this happened right before I went to Wilkes-Barre. Unfortunately, I ran into some really weird motherboard issues and my computer just got owned. So I lost 4 amazing episodes. But I will be in contact with those guests. We will run it back. I've already rescheduled some of them. So if you're wondering, well, why was there a weird gap? It's because they tried to take your boy out, but the content doesn't stop. You got the 4 episodes, but you ain't got me. So I shout out to all my guests who are willing to run it back. Love all you guys, and shout out to all of you for continuing to support this podcast. I love it. It's fun, and I'll never stop doing it. We're here to stay. The content is just going to keep growing, right? Rayhan dropped today, Rayhan today of me recording this. Tyler drops a couple days later, and then the YouTube's popping. We got the live sets. Knoebels vlog coming hopefully very soon. I just gotta unpack. Like I said, still haven't unpacked, but we got a lot of stuff coming. We ain't stopping. So I just appreciate all of your support. We love you here, and hopefully I'll see some of you very soon. Come see me in Pomona. Division 1, they're doing cool shit. I love Division 1. Shout out to everyone who's rocking with them. Shout out to all the D1 bands. Good time in hardcore. Go listen to Through and Through. Go listen to Inclination. Go listen to Hardcore Caviar, and then just report back here. All right, and we're recording. Welcome back to the podcast. Tyler, how's it going?
It's going all right, man. I'm very fucking tired. What Bitter End shirt is that?
Oh, it's here, let me get back to show you. It's a Climate of Fear.
Oh, fuck yes. That's awesome.
Yeah. Shout out Texas Hardcore. Shout out Bitter End.
Dude, I wish I had my Bitter End shirts from that era. I unfortunately thought I was a small at that time. And okay. I was fucking wrong. Somebody should have stopped me from doing that and reminded me that I was going to get older and bigger and fatter, and smalls were not going to be the move. Yeah.
Luckily, this is a large, but I feel like it's in between a large and an XL, so it's like held up over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sometimes like larges, if you just like have them for long enough, I feel like they do like. It like what they say with like selvage jeans, like they'll just like grow to you.
Okay,
that's like true. Larges, if you get them when they're too big for you, and then just keep wearing them, they like almost adapt to you.
That's true. I have like a lot of these are larges behind me, and they've lasted like a long time. But I feel like currently I'm in like my XL era.
Oh yeah, I've been in my XL era ever since I put on an XL t-shirt and was like, "There's so much room in this thing."
Yeah, it's like everything I get now is XL. So done with the larges for now. I could still fit a large. Like obviously, I'm wearing a large right now, but I think these days I'm liking the loose fit a little better.
Oh yeah, we're in our 30s.
That's true.
Loose is better.
Okay, well, we're here today because we're following up to talk about the Echo Watch that we did, which I'm happy that we decided to do this because logging into Disney Plus and going to the Echo series and seeing that I didn't even get past episode 1. I probably got like 3/4 of the way of episode 1. But for some reason, going into this, I was like, oh my God. I was like, I'm only doing this because Tyler and I are going to talk about this. And it felt like a chore. But I feel like once I restarted episode 1 and got to the end, I was like, oh no, this actually isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Like, this is okay. This is cool. So I'm not sure why I had such a disdain for Echo when it came out.
Dude, I think it's the Marvel fatigue thing. I think it really, really set in for me last year. And then if it wasn't for you, I probably wouldn't try to see these movies promptly. I would probably just see them whenever it was convenient for me. I've stopped caring about the spoiler because also the spoiler stopped being a touchstone. Like True. It used to be, if you missed a Marvel movie, it would get spoiled for you. The internet would talk about it enough, and I'm just not on the internet as much. And my personal feeds that I do see don't tend to spoil these things for me anymore. If it wasn't for talking to you about it, I could kind of go, I think, weeks or months without seeing them and never have it ruined for me. And I also don't care as much as I used to care about it being ruined. I think it's literally the fatigue. I think a lot of it is like the fandom, I think, too, has like soured so much that like even people who do love this shit and are like game for it being good, I think we are getting like the well's being poisoned for us as well, even though we still like it. But this is way better than I thought it was going to be, honestly. I'm curious what because I know it got cut down to 5 episodes. I have never heard why or what the deal was. My critique will only come really at the end of this conversation.
Okay. The question I found myself asking myself was, why did this series happen? Yeah, because when you look across like the landscape of all the Disney Plus series and all the support characters, it's like, why did Echo get chosen? And
I think content. I think that was it.
Yeah, and also
this was Disney prioritizing content, just getting as much content out. And I think they okayed this. I think a lot of these decisions were made to okay this stuff during COVID, too. I think they mapped a lot of this stuff out, even if it didn't get announced after. And I think they saw that value of just having as much content out there. And you still got to make like good stuff. And also you might need to make stuff people like are like itching for and demanding. And when you make something like Echo that nobody's really asking for, you only end up with like sick freaks like us who are like, let's watch the Echo series.
Yeah. Which, if you would have asked me when it came out, should I watch Echo? I'd say hell no, waste of time. But, fast forward to now, if you were to ask me, should I watch Echo? And I'm like, okay, if you're invested in the timeline, I would say yes. But if you aren't, you could skip it.
I would say there's 2 or 3 things I would ask people. I would say, did you like the Daredevil series? And if they say yes, I would say, yeah, you'll probably like it. If I talk to somebody and I'm like, are you a big John Wick guy? And they're like, yes, I'd be like, you should probably watch it. I think there'll be a few scenes you'll really get a lot out of. Or the big thing, one of the first things I wrote down when we were starting this first episode, the show Reservation Dogs. Anybody who liked Reservation Dogs, I think would get a lot out of watching Echo. Not just because of all the actors and actresses that cross over, but it's I don't know. It's cool to see. If you watch Reservation Dogs, you obviously are like have like an open mind for like indigenous storytelling and whatnot, and just hearing from other people's experiences. And that's definitely what this show is. Like it or not, I definitely understood many times why a bunch of white dudes hated this.
Yeah. They're just portrayed as the villains. They're out here.
And just the immature, juvenile headspace. Like, dude, I mean, every time we talk, I've fallen in like a deeper hole of like wanting to watch like all of these like outrage bait grifters getting like kind of dissected and uncovered. And I've now found where, 4 years ago when we were talking about this shit, I had my like problematic faves that I like to keep track of just because I like to watch them and hope the worst things in the world happen to them. And now it seems that other people have caught on to this and are now making content about their content and how toxic and awful it is. And I'm like, well, fucking, it's relieving to at least see that somebody else sees this like train wreck of a thing going on the internet and is like, hey, that sucks. So, but all those guys are like white dudes and they can't enjoy anything if it's not like representing themselves in it. That's just pussy shit, dude. It's so soft.
Yeah, it is strange how it's just like it's there's so much culture in the world. It doesn't always have to be about them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it's also just wild how huge they get. I fell in a hole recently about have you ever seen that Star Wars theory guy on YouTube?
No, I'm not a big Star Wars guy.
So probably for the fucking best, honestly.
Okay.
Not being a big Star Wars person anymore because it's just it's awful, dude. And I would start getting this guy's videos algorithmed out to me because they were getting like so much traction because of the Acolyte. And like how many people were making negative videos about the Acolyte, and this guy does it a lot. And I was like, I don't really like this guy. Something about him is just like really unsettling, and I don't. His vibes are fucked. I looked into it a little bit, and he runs in that same circle of like nerd Nazi guys. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm glad that perked my ear up, and I was like, oh no, this guy might suck. And then I find he does a bunch of joint videos with guys who are like 14 words people, and that's just awesome, dude. We're doing great. We're doing great on the internet. And it's just so fucking sad because I know there's so many like disaffected white youth like I was that are like, I want to watch a video about Star Wars or Iron Man or something, and then you end up watching somebody who's going to tell you basically that like all the things that are wrong in your world are because of DEI. And it's, well, I can't wait to see our new Nazi movement in America just grow out of all these weird little nerds who've never been in a fist fight in their lives.
Yeah, it is strange how that, especially, dude, I live here in Orange County, and had a buddy, his band was on tour, and he was saying, maybe he's like, yo, like, let's go down to Huntington Beach. And I was like, oh, I don't think he really knows like what goes on down there. But I couldn't go because I had like prior obligations, so I had to meet up afterwards, which sounds convenient at this point, but it's the truth. But afterwards, talking about it, I was just like, why'd you want to go down there? He's like, oh, well, it's like really popular. And then I started asking him like, oh, did you see like, like crazy looking white people? And he's like, yeah, now that you mention it, yeah, there were like these teenagers who look like, and I didn't even like mention like, Nazis or anything like that. And like, that's exactly what he said. He's like, yeah, like we're on the beach and there's like these like Nazi looking teenagers, like taking everybody's waves, like trying to start stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much how it goes down there. Like if you're not white, like, you could be in for some trouble if you run into the wrong people.
It's 2024.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, what the fuck, dude? Are you kidding me? Like, it honestly like bears to question, like, when people talk about like these things coming in cycles, like we're legitimately almost at like the 100-year anniversary of like the rise of all of this, all this nationalist fervor that happened 100 years ago that led to, the last world fucking war. It's cool.
Yeah. But I think, like racism has always been in our country, and obviously it's been suppressed. Maybe it's just seems like it's coming back, but I feel like it's always been here. People just feel like more okay to like express it.
Oh yeah.
Um,
but it's to me it's also like it's definitely that people just feel like brave enough and bold enough, but it's how people are allowed to like blame their problems on other people. And then times when people are being like taken care of a little bit more and feeling like their lives under less threat or their livelihoods are under less threat, they're less inclined to look for these scapegoats to blame for why their lives are doing so bad. And when our fucking country and our government and our political and economic system, all it does is increase the chances that people are going to become angry or, anxiety ridden over what's going to happen in their lives, well, they're more inclined to search for easier, stupider explanations than, greed and corruption in the power structure. And instead, I'll point at the most powerless people and I'll say, actually, they're the reason that my life sucks so much. A guy on YouTube told me that.
Yeah, it's clear as day that like our government doesn't care about our country as much as they care about like war, which is
as much as they care about their fucking stock, dude.
True. Yeah, but it's like they have the ability to, help, their citizens out, but they just choose not to. So it's like we're like in this weird, like ecosystem where it's just like, there's people like fighting and wanting real change. And then there's people who are like parading around like they want to help, but secretly behind closed doors, they don't want to help.
No. Or when you get into a certain degree of power there, you're so convinced that what you have to do to stay there. And you get tricked into thinking like, oh no, I'm fighting the system from within. I mean, it's why you hear so many people who are like, who want to be cops or prosecutors. And they're like, yeah, because I want to get into criminal justice and like make it better. And it's like, it's not how this fucking works. It's punitive justice all the way down. Like you'd have to stop doing private prisons before you stop. Like you have to take the profit motive out of locking people up in order to prevent people from just being locked up in mass. Like I heard, I can't remember. I listened to a story recently about, there's these inmates who found a way to hack their little iPads that they have that they can like. I also heard one of the most cursed terms I've ever heard. I heard the term email stamp, which is something prisoners have to pay for in order to send an email.
That's ridiculous.
Emails are fucking free, dude. That is crazy. But yeah, prisoners have to pay for email stamps and they have to pay for all this shit. And they've all got these little iPads, which honestly, like I hear that and I'm like, I know I can hear that there's some like right-wing nut job who's like, we're giving prisoners iPads. They don't deserve those. And it's like, dude, have you ever given a 4-year-old an iPad and then watched how quickly it chills them the fuck out? That's why you give prisoners iPads, because it chills them the fuck out. They're just like, everybody is chilled out by just the ability to tap around on a screen. It just works. So beyond all that, these prisoners found a way to hack and basically like they created money in their little iPad system. They figured out like a way to like basically like hack it so they could get like endless money. They found the endless money code and they were just using it to buy like literal phone calls with their families. Like they were using it to talk to their families and send emails and buy like some songs or something. And this is of course a third party company. It's nothing to do with our government. They're being contracted out to allow this, to sell this service to prisons. And, in some of their like internal documents talking about like, these like initiatives that they're putting in and whatnot, they use the word like growth in their market and things like that. And it's like, dude, if you think about what growth in your market means, it means more people in prison. And when you're worried about your profit growth, and this is what you don't have to think any longer about, like, they don't want less people in jail. It's an industry. We've industrialized prison So there's going to be this endless growth model that, like, the same in tech, the same in oil and gas and all these different, services and industries that we've created in this country. And it's like, we could just fucking stop. We could turn the car around at any point and just say, we're not going to do it this way anymore. This is crazy. But full steam ahead.
Dude, there's still people.
It doesn't matter how many people get angrier and more racist because of it.
Yeah, we're just. I wish we could get to a point where our country wasn't like, obviously, like, it's nice to live in America, right? Obviously, it's a lot better than other places, but it needs a lot of fixing that, like, the people who are supposed to be doing the fixing don't want to do. So it's just like,
I'll say it's probably one of the best places to live, maybe second or third best place to live on our continent.
Yes.
Canada might be a little better, except when it comes to paying rent. Canada's like housing is apparently heading for like 2008 levels of issues.
Jeez.
Which I'm sure won't affect our markets or global economy at all. It's gonna be great.
We're coming up on that again. So who knows?
I can't wait for the next economic crash. But yeah, we're here to talk about Echo.
We're here because of Hawkeye. Shout out.
We are here because of Hawkeye, which the first episode is literally just the season of Hawkeye.
Yeah, it's a nice recap, and it also got me excited because I've watched Hawkeye every holiday season since it's come out, which I think it's only been like one or two.
Yeah.
But it's like a new tradition because it's just like a character that I like, and like Kate Bishop, like that character a lot, and to tie it to the holidays, I love Christmas, so it's just super awesome.
Dude, the way they did Hawkeye was awesome, and the way it led up to Christmas. That was one that honestly felt pertinent to watch at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I watched it like. I think we might have missed like the first two episodes, but then we were watching it every week until it ended. But and I guess you didn't even have the option because they put Echo up all at the same time because they were somehow shook and afraid for like what the show was what kind of reaction they were gonna get. And I don't know, dude. I'm so confused at so many of the decisions that Disney and Marvel seem to be making. Like, I mean, I guess not really Disney and Marvel, but just Disney seems to be making. And like, I mean, back to like everybody having issues with this stuff. And the big issue that anybody's going to have is this capitalism, dude. It's the problem. Like, it's all the things that people have that people are criticizing. Like, they're going for quantity over quality and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, your issue isn't with DEI or, or the MCU or any of this bullshit. Your issue is with capitalism, and it's that they think this is the most marketable, like, profit-driven thing they can do right now. And then it just sucks because then we get to the end of that road sometimes, and they're like, "Well, fuck, I don't know if this is actually going to get like the return on investment that we expected it to." So then they just do weird, like, fumbling at like the 2-yard line shit, and there's like, "Oh, we'll just put it all at once," and like I don't know, we'll like cut it down to like 5 episodes, and it's like I'm really curious what all got left out of this show. That because I did really like how it opens up and introducing these characters and giving more of a background on who she is.
Yeah,
and where she comes from.
Maybe like they could have done like a Disney Plus like exclusive movie, just like all in one shot.
Yeah, maybe
because 5 episodes just for obviously they like dubbed it like a mini series, but why do a mini series? Why not just do like a movie or
series?
Or do like a full on series if it's gonna be so short.
Like, you've already spent the money on it. Like, that's the thing, is all these decisions were made in post. So I'm just really curious. And I'm also curious, maybe this was the best version of it. And that there was a lot of studio involvement to do some weird stuff that they didn't like, or that the showrunners didn't want, and then they argued and fought. I just never heard any of this, and I think it sucks so much when this stuff happens, and all of the behind the scenes are kept like under lock and key, like nobody can find out because nobody wants to be like embarrassed publicly about like how they either fucked up or how they, weren't getting along or something like that. And it leads to all of this like aura of speculation that you have for what this show was going to be if it wasn't for it getting fucked with and cut down to 5 episodes. I don't know. I'm just really curious.
Well, I'm sure there's fear of being also painted as like crazy. Because I think back to the guy who did the last Fantastic Four. I remember he was tweeting about how he got kicked out of the editing room, and then Disney was just like, "All right, like you're gone." And
it was Fox at the time.
Yeah, no, but he was supposed to work with like on some Disney stuff like afterwards.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then after like his outbursts on Twitter and calling people out and saying like a lot of things that they probably shouldn't have, like got him removed from like a bunch of projects. And he was just speaking his truth because he was frustrated because he's like, how do I get kicked out of the editing room of a movie that I directed?
Well, and my thing with that guy too, like, and I think we talked about this the last time, or when we talked about Deadpool, which is using, because the guy who directed Deadpool, I know that's just like one of Ryan Reynolds' like buddies. The issue I think that we're having with like cinema and television and like this form of art in general is the involvement of the moneyed interests and what the art is going to be and what the story is going to be. And I said one of the things I'm seeing is when with Eternals, that's the best example I can give, is they got this woman who directed was it Zoe Chow? I think that was the director's name. But I never saw it, but I know she directed Nomadland, and she won an Oscar for it. And I wanted to see it really bad. My dad said it was really good. And I was really interested in watching Nomadland, and that made me excited to see what she would do with a Marvel movie. And now I realize I'm like, oh, we should never be excited what a new, inexperienced, like, auteur or like director who has like vision is going to do with a Marvel movie, because they're so new. They're just going to get pushed around by the studio. They don't have a strong voice. They don't have a long catalog of work that they can just like show like, hey, I make good decisions. Just let me make those good decisions and I'll make a good film for you. Instead, now we've got, I've heard like, the shit that's going on with Blake Lively right now.
I'm not even familiar with what's going on with Blake.
She's in all kinds of trouble because of this movie that she's had coming out. And like, I guess she just like bullied her way around the production a lot and like had this like outsized interest in it. And I think even, or outsized influence on it. And I think even Ryan Reynolds had like a lot of influence on it too. And a lot of people who worked on it are just like really upset with kind of how it got promoted, how it was made, how the production went and all this stuff. And it's just nobody should have, and I say this like, this seems like almost hypocritical, but like even certain movies where I agree, like directors had too much power. Like, look at what like Joss Whedon was able to put people through. And one of the big ones is, I can't remember his name right now, but the guy who directed The Exorcist, he like traumatized Linda Blair and like severely injured like the actress who played her mom in The Exorcist. But at the end of the day, when you would talk to the actress who played her mom about like her spinal injury that she had the rest of her life from some of the things that they did to her on The Exorcist, and like even Linda Blair to a certain extent, like the harm that they did to her, like I think they gave her like scoliosis or like some sort of severe spinal injury as well. At the end of the day, when they would think about all the trauma and like just abuse they went through making that movie, they still have to look at that movie and go, it's a good fucking movie though. Fucking crazy good movie though. Really effective movie. And where like I definitely don't think like directors or producers should be like allowed to maim people. It does suck that like so many people who don't really who are more manager than artists are able to come in and dictate what the art's going to be based on what they might see as like metrics or, you know, how this is testing. And it's like, can you just like make art and then put it out in the world and then find out if it's touching people or speaking to people? And like that be how we like judge good or bad art, is by like whether or not it actually like says something to us, not by what a bunch of like, I don't know, testing group researchers have deemed as like what the American people want to be said to them. It's like, no, like you just let the artist say what they're trying to say or write what they're trying to write. And hopefully these actors portray that emotion enough that people get it and then they have a moment. Like no movie that like takes the world by storm took the world by storm because it was designed in a lab. It's because somebody made something with their whole heart and then people like felt that shit. I don't know.
I'll say the big problem is the amount of money that these studios are putting into
Yes.
it. And that's why it's like, we have to test it. We have to try to maximize, this
It's
experience so
fucked,
we
dude.
can get our, make their money back. So we're able, to do this again.
You
So
don't need to spend this much money on these movies and these shows, dude. You can do it cheaper. And that makes me also curious, like how many consultants and project managers are on these things that are just eating up the expense of this movie, and they actually don't do any of the real work that it takes to produce it.
yeah,
They're just
collecting
they're
a
just
check for no reason.
fucking welfare queens, dude. It's I hate this shit, dude, because you hear so many people talk so like derogatorily about people who are like on the government's dime. What about all these people who are on the corporate dime doing fucking nothing to contribute to the productivity or the, the output of what gets actually produced and created in this world? Like there's just people who are just being sucked. I would much rather those people be on the government's dime than sucking up money that could have gone towards making an explosion look better or paying paying a driver a little bit better, paying somebody who actually did some real work on it.
Or like, I don't know if you saw that, there's that article about James Gunn about how, they like wrapped up, like Superman, but it's gonna, take like a long time to do like all like the visual effects, but like this is how he wanted it. He wanted, the people who are working on it to have enough time to do it. Yeah. And not be rushed and put under these crazy, like, crunches and, have to do crazy overtime.
But I say that my point being, James Gunn has the clout. James Gunn has the proof. He's got years of experience making so many movies that are so creative and with such good use of budget too. Slither fucking rocks if you still haven't watched it.
I haven't watched it. I gotta check it out.
You need to watch Slither, dude. It's fucking awesome.
Okay.
And that's his first fucking movie, and it was made on such a small budget. And it fucking rules, dude. I think that's the earliest thing I've ever seen Michael Rooker and the guy who played Jan do.
Okay.
Which, dude, let's get into talking about Echo.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, Echo, like we mentioned earlier, episode 1 starts off with basically a recap of how we got to, see the character for the first time. And then it jumps right into like a real quick origin. That's what I like too, is that like, we didn't have like this crazy buildup of like who this person is. We kind of got like a nice, short and sweet version of it, which I appreciated, since this was like a mini series, like they didn't have a lot of time to play with. So I did like that part.
I forgot, dude, if you haven't watched it, the show Reservation Dogs on Hulu is really fucking good. And I forgot the actor who played her dad and Hawkeye and her dad in this as well. He's like the this will come up later, but he's the reservation cop in Reservation Dogs, like the on reservation cop. And when they talk about the Light Horseman later in I want to say it was either the beginning of episode 3, I was like, I looked at Ash and I went, we know that. We know that's what they're the detectives and officers on the reservation are called. We know they're called Light Horsemen from watching Reservation Dogs. And that's he plays like the Light Horseman in Reservation Dogs, and he's really good at it because he's kind of a fuck up, and I feel like he like accurately portrays what like the police actually are, which are fuck ups who couldn't find anything better to do than be cops. But yeah, I was really stoked to see him again. And dude, the fucking car crash was brutal.
Yeah, it was. As soon as she tried to hit the brakes and you saw that it wasn't, hitting, they cut the line. Like,
well, and I was seeing where she's going. I was like, oh, they're gonna like fly off the road or something.
Okay.
And then just the T-bone, dude. The way their truck just snapped and essentially like half. Like fucking brutal, dude.
Yeah,
I really hated that.
Yeah, and it was just sad too because like she's like checking her mom's pulse.
Yeah, because dude, that was such a good touch too because she can't tell.
Yeah, because she obviously has the disability, so it's just like pretty rough.
Like that was a great touch that she doesn't like freak out until like she touches her mom and like realizes her mom's not reacting. Like that was rough. Dude, one thing I just was so taken aback by how much that little girl looked like the older actress.
Yeah, it's like they did a really great job casting. It's like, are they related or like how did they get her to like look so much like her?
Dude, it was fucking uncanny. I couldn't stop thinking about it every time the little girl was or little Maya was on screen, was how fucking just how much it could be her little sister, like easily. She was fucking great though. The little Maya was fantastic.
Yeah,
I'm like incredibly critical of like child actors too, because when a child actor is bad, it can really fuck everything up. Phantom Menace. Yeah. I feel so bad for the kid from Phantom Menace, dude.
Which one? They're trying to, like the kid who played Anakin, or
yes, the kid who played Anakin, dude. Because he like didn't act again after that, pretty much.
Hopefully, got a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't get to come around and like have a positive experience with it like Hayden Christensen did eventually. But yeah, no, the one of the things the part when her mom is talking to her about the two worlds thing, like you'll have to walk between two worlds. I really liked that, like, because I know that's like a thing that like a lot of indigenous people like talk about, especially when it comes to like integrating into like American society, is like this ability that you have to like, I mean, it's code switching, honestly. It's that idea that like you will have to exist in the regular like modernity and monoculture that we exist in, but there's a part of you that will always like have one foot in this land that you know your ancestors forever ago grew up in, which is, I mean, I think I'm like 3 generations in America, but I'm white and I don't even fucking know like where, like I'm somewhere over in England, and then for who fucking knows how long I was there, but I definitely didn't start there either. Like we are like people who look like me. We are we move around and take up other people's space. So like I'll never understand that idea of like what where you were supposed to be, and then you were put off of your land. Like that's just, I really like that. Also the when she asks if dragons are real, and then we all have to watch this knowing yep they're real.
Yeah.
only one of these fucking MCU heroes knows that, but yeah, they're real.
Shout out the Iron
I guess
Fist.
they say Iron Fist might. Yeah, Iron Fist knows too. Well, Shang-Chi knows the
Mhm.
dragons are real. I guess Iron Fist, whenever they do introduce him. Dude, the one thing I immediately, like me and Ashton were like, and we had to take it back like 3 times. The way Vincent D'Onofrio talks as Wilson Fisk
Mhm.
is one of the best parts of that character.
Yeah, he's one of those ones that is just like a perfect casting. He took that role and just ran with it. He portrayed like that character to a level where it's like, yeah, I don't want to see anybody else as Wilson Fisk.
Dude, he fucking owns it. I legit, like, I'm just going through like some of my my notes, because you get the recap basically, and we see all the way through to Maya shooting Fisk. But before that happens, you get to see like the little bits that like Hawkeye didn't show of her, like when Fisk starts sending her on missions, and then the first mission where she gets her first kill. Dude, that fight was fucking awesome.
Yeah, you're talking about the one when they go to the back of that warehouse.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's like, I think when the show like really gets like kicks into gear for real. Because up until that point, it's just kind of like it's rehashing action sequences you've already seen. It's rehashing story. It's given a little bit of story and background and context to things, but that's like the first part of like original cooking that they do, where you get to see like that Daredevil influence of violent action that we have not seen too often in the MCU, honestly.
Yeah, it was just like, okay, they're going pretty brutal with these fights and not really holding back.
Dude, when they tap that door and the dude's just like, and the other guy at the
just boom, just right, yeah,
shoots the fucking doorman's head. Oh god, dude, I took it back like 3 times because I was like so shocked. I was like, yes, we're getting abrasive like hyper violence again in the MCU, and I was just so sad immediately. I was like, fuck, they cut this series down. I just want to see more of this. I want to see more of like brutal fucking like violence. I missed it so much. Since Daredevil, I missed it so much.
And I kind of like too how it would like switch between like Echo's perspective, right? Then like like the audio cuts, and you're like, all right, cool. Like I know. Yes. I know we're seeing it from like her perspective now, and like how she has to deal with like these crazy situations. So that's one that I like that they did throughout this whole series.
The sound design was awesome, dude. I fully agree. That was really cool, and it also like it did exactly that. It put you in her headspace every time. And yeah, that part's incredibly effective because it's fucking chaos. All those dudes. And then it finally, like, the dude just accidentally runs into her, and then she fucking breaks his neck and kills him. Also, dude, Ashton pointed out, like, how fun it is watching her fight because she has that, like, boxing background. So, like, she does fight a little, like, she fights with, like, like, she has, like, a form to how she's fighting.
Yeah.
It's not, like, loose or, like, chaotic or anything like that.
Yeah,
it's like
she like
it's really hard.
She like puts her hands up, like
yes,
like it's like no, you're in like a life or death like crazy brawl situation. It's not a one-on-one fight, but yeah, she does get in the stance. She does put her hands up, and it's just like all right,
but I just love how fucking hard she hits people too. It's fucking awesome. Like how much in that fight scene everyone is really trying to hurt each other.
But I think the best part is when Daredevil shows up.
Of course it is, dude. It's literally like the 100% the best part of the episode. Dude, when he shows up, he's like, I've been watching these guys all night, and then you guys show up and ruin this.
Yeah.
That was so good. Yeah, dude. I love one of the parts that really got me was when he kept kicking the guns as she would reach for a different gun.
Mhm.
She kept like going to that table and trying to grab a gun. He kept kicking each one like out of the way. That part really fucking got me. Also, it was like, speaking of like the way, because he's like kind of got like the boxing background too with his dad and like his fight training or whatever. So like watching them fight each other was like, they were pretty evenly matched to a certain extent because they were like kind of prepared for the way that, like, to defend against those kinds of attacks. But yeah, it was fucking awesome, dude. I think we took it back and watched it 3 times.
Yeah, I think that was a great way to kind of set the tone for her abilities, right? Because remember, after like that whole fight scene, it cuts to like her talking to Fisk, and he's like, "Hey, like I've never seen any of my men, handle Daredevil like that."
Yeah, she's like, "You lasted longer than anybody else ever has. Like, don't be," because she feels, like she fucked up.
Yeah,
like she failed him, and he's just like, "No fucking way, dude. That's crazy. You're alive, right?" Oh. Because even like early in Daredevil, like he like really fucks people up. Like he doesn't
breaking bones and yeah.
He's not killing people, but he's putting everyone in the hospital. He's not showing mercy or anything. Dude, the next after that, we basically follow that all the way through to her shooting Fisk and then her going home, which led to my first like moment where I like kind of turned my head and I wrote, "Can you really fall asleep riding a motorcycle?"
I've never like actually like driven a motorcycle, so maybe, I don't know.
I'm just curious how common that is.
Well, you gotta think too, she was injured, right? So maybe the pain from her wound, like obviously like on top of that, so maybe it's possible.
I mean, I've fallen asleep driving a car many times, so I can understand falling asleep driving a vehicle, but a motorcycle just seems very difficult to fall asleep. It's not comfortable.
Well,
maybe the vibrations can kind of lull you away, but yeah, she does fall asleep riding her motorcycle, which is pretty funny.
Yeah. I think it'd be possible because all the factors, it's cold out because it's late out. She's injured and she's tired. So yeah.
All right.
I believe it.
I'll accept your argument.
Okay.
The next thing that happens, she gets to her childhood house, and one thing I laughed. She picks up that brick to get the key out from underneath of it.
Okay.
And I immediately I wish she would just pick the brick up and then we'd just seen the brick fly through a window.
Smash the window.
That would have been really good for me, but instead it's a brick key situation. I wrote that down because it was the immediate thought I had and it made me laugh. And then the next day her cousin shows up.
My favorite character of the whole series.
And I wrote, this guy's name is Biscuits.
Yeah, shout out Biscuits. The only crime of this series is that we didn't get more screen time for Biscuits.
Yeah, if we're to find out that this was originally supposed to be 8 episodes, and that like 70% of what was cut out was Biscuits, I will go on a killing spree.
Yeah, because every time he came in clutch, he was there for his cousin whenever she needed him. He went above and beyond.
He rocks. His dog was very cute. Biscuits was a revelation on this for sure.
I was just confused. Maybe you might have some knowledge on this. Why was their truck right-hand drive?
I don't know. They never explained that.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's something I was wondering.
No, I'm curious if that's just like kind of a common thing, like on reservations, maybe that like they can get vehicles from. Because it's different. It like you're on sovereign land. Like they have their own kind of like they have their own economies in some way. They have their own different like tax situations with some things. Like they're allotted a lot of I mean not enough. Surely like they deserve any sort of leniency or ability to like govern themselves that they are allowed. We, yeah, it's certainly not fair what happened to any of them. But I was though really curious because I couldn't remember and I didn't look it up. But I didn't look up if Tamaha is a real town or not, which is where this takes place. And I'm trying to remember where Reservation Dogs takes place, and I'm just too lazy to Google it right now. Because I know when I looked up the actress isn't Choctaw, which is the tribe that they belong to in the show. And I don't think indigenous people get like that crazy about the different like tribal representation. I think they're mostly just happy that somebody cares enough to not like do brown face or just cast a Mexican playing a native person. But I was curious because I couldn't remember. I don't remember that in Reservation Dogs them being Choctaw.
I just look it up and it says it is a real place.
It is a real place?
Yeah.
Well, then I guess if you're going to Google, I'm going to Google what tribe are the Reservation Dogs.
Okay. Yeah. I was surprised too because I didn't really do a ton of research while watching the show, but then at the very end, they did thank the tribe of the Choctaw. I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah. Like the real tribe. It's nice that they,
oh, yeah. I knew Muskogee. They're Muskogee and Reservation Dogs. So yeah, just crazy. Oklahoma just had so many different, cause that's also where, the Osage are too. If you haven't seen Killers of the Flower Moon yet.
I have not.
That's Oklahoma as well. Just crazy. Just so crazy. I'm reading Mutual Aid right now by, Peter Kropotkin. He's like a old like anarcho-communist guy from like the time right after Marx and Engels and whatnot. And the book is talking about like mutual aid amongst like barbarians and like savages, like using the term of the day. But one of the things I appreciated watching the show, in it immediately I think plays into the next episode, which we can I guess move right along to, when they show the like back in the day when their tribe is like built up and like how sophisticated like native society was in America. Like so often it gets portrayed as like, just a bunch of teepees in a circle in a field. But like, no, they had like longhouses and buildings and like semi-permanent infrastructure and like all of these different like dude, like the lacrosse thing. I didn't know Ashton played lacrosse, so she was immediately like, yeah, lacrosse was invented in like by like native tribes in America. Cause I was like, holy shit, ancient lacrosse is lit. And she was like, no, that's just lacrosse. It's like direct from like modern lacrosse is a direct descendant of, that. And I was like, fuck, I've never fucking played lacrosse, so I didn't know that. But I really like how they kind of portrayed the culture existing then, because I think it gets so, infantilized by white, settler, mentality that we were like civilizing the land. With our, our Christian values and whatnot. And it's like, nah, the land was fucking civilized already. Sure, they like fought with each other, but as far back as anyone can remember, Britain and France were at war with each other. Yeah. So like, who's to say like the Choctaw and the Osage fighting with one another is any fucking different?
Yeah, it's like we just brought more war.
Yeah, like the white myths that like we tell ourselves as Americans is just, I don't know, and that's where I'm like, I get why all these psychos want to like take that control of like the the education system in America and like whitewash it again, because like it's becoming increasingly impossible with the internet to like keep telling your children like that America has been this great place since 1776, and it's like a lot of ugly shit since 1776. We could just take accountability for it and maybe like make the world better, but in fact we all just want to just it's crazy like to live in such a backwards facing mentality, yet like not wanting to acknowledge any of the things you're looking back on, you know?
Yeah, there's
like, rather than going, you know what, that's in the past, we're going to move forward to new better days, and instead you're like, man, I wish it was the way it used to be. And it's like, when women couldn't vote, when black people couldn't vote.
Yeah, it's like when like their lies, could be believable back then. They could fool the citizens of the country, but now it's just like, no, we have way too much access to information, and we know that a lot of stuff that they feed us isn't the truth.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, it's just so like, I've been thinking about this because we're playing that Tulsa Fest, and like how I learned about the Black Wall Street racial killings from the Watchmen series. I never learned that in fucking school.
Mm-hmm.
I learned it watching fucking Watchmen in like 2019 or 2020. I can't remember when we watched it, but I'm like, how the fuck did I not know about the Tulsa Massacre? Like, how did no one tell me about that? And it's like, well, a lot of people just didn't fucking know about it. It's not something that we like talking about because it's an ugly moment in America. Well, I'm sorry. We should talk about those things so we don't do them again.
Yeah, but the government wants these things to keep continuing.
My thing is like, it's bad for fucking business, dude. It's bad for business for like half the town to kill the other half.
Yeah, because you want people around to spend their money, but
yeah, dude, like people complain about nobody wanting to work anymore. Well, nobody can work when they're fucking dead. But so we see Ancient Lacrosse. We see a moment of her ancestor, which we'll find out later.
Every episode they're giving us like this, like kind of like history of the Choctaw, right, on how it started. Because we didn't mention in the first episode, but we saw.
Yeah, the cave.
Yeah, the cave, and then they came out, and then
that's how you're right. No, I didn't realize that. That is how that episode starts.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. Every episode does start with this weird flashback sort of thing.
Yeah, to give us the history of her people.
Because the first episode opens with the cave collapsing, and then it goes to the girls doing the little shadow puppets, telling the story of how the Choctaw came to be. Which I'm gonna fucking assume, haven't looked into it, that's exactly the story they tell in there. That sounds just as real as whatever the fuck's in the Bible or the Quran or anything. So yeah, sure, that's perfectly fine for you to believe that's where your people come from. But yeah, you're right. So yeah, there's that, and there's the original, and then there's after that we see the tribe in its maybe heyday, like thriving in this like competition of Ancient Lacrosse, and she gets access to that power that you see in the first episode and just takes it to the hole, I guess.
Yeah, because it was a game of like, all right, loser has to leave town.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously they were ahead, maybe got a little too cocky, and then they called out like the big buff guy to kind of bring back the other team. And then they're like 1 point away from either winning or having to leave.
Why wouldn't they have that guy out there the whole time?
I don't know.
That guy was huge though. Holy shit.
Yeah, he was just bullying everybody. He was a beast.
Yeah, that guy looks fucking crazy. But the next thing we see when we go back to modern day is it her? I thought it was her grandpa, but I guess it was just a dude who was fucking her grandma. Scully.
That wasn't her grandpa?
No, it's not her grandpa.
What?
He says when me and your grandma stopped like hooking up or whatever, I'm pretty sure they're not blood.
I just assumed that they were just like like just so cool, and they split and they were still cool.
They're still cool, I think, but I don't think that was I'm pretty sure that's not her blood. I think that's just a guy who was hanging around her grandma for her younger years.
Well, he was awesome anyways.
And did you hear the Madripoor reference?
Yes, with biscuits.
Yes.
Yeah.
That shit rocked. These white people are looking at stuff and they ask about, do you have any Navajo rugs? Which is incredibly respectful to say in the reservation of a different fucking tribe, which is an awesome white person thing to say. I'm sure I get a lot why all these white men hated this.
Yeah, because it's like, because that does happen. I'm sure they're so ignorant that they don't even realize.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say I bet I would do this fucking same dumb shit if I didn't fucking think about it for one more fucking second. I'm white. This is what we do. We trample all over everyone else's cultures. But yeah, and then when. Yeah, Biscuits chimes in and goes, all those Navajo rugs are actually made in Madripoor. Or he talks about anthropology.
Yeah.
Fun people who go to anthropology. That shit fucking rocked. And then we cut to her grandma and several of the other people planning their powwow, the Choctaw powwow.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those guys is the Ghost Warrior in Reservation Dogs. And if you watch this show for any fucking reason, for only one reason, it's this guy in the show. He's so fucking funny. He's funny every time he's on screen. Every single time he's on screen, it's the best part of the episode. It's awesome.
Okay.
You need to watch Reservation Dogs. It's very good.
I'll check it out.
It's wholesome. It's fun. It's cute. It'll make you think about when you were a kid making terrible decisions. But yeah, and then after that, I think is The Train.
The Train. Oh, I like that.
We did
before
forget
the train.
We did forget to talk about Henry. Her, I think it's her uncle.
Yeah, it's her uncle.
Her uncle Henry, who owns the
roller
skating
skate
rink.
Yeah,
he shows her, basically he finds Bonnie, her cousin, and shows her on the top of the water tower. And then she's like, this is actually why I'm here, and points it at the Fisk warehouse. And he's like, oh no, don't fucking mix me up in your fucking little war or some shit.
Yeah, because it's like a conflict of interest because he is in business with Fisk. And obviously, that's his niece, and he doesn't want her to mess up his business, and which is also going to in turn bring like way more heat, not just on him and the illegal stuff that they're doing, but on the rest of the family.
Yep. Yeah. What did you have to say before we get to The Train?
Oh, I was going to say she gave a list, and that's why Biscuits was at the shop, because she gave Biscuit a list of things that she needs, and she asked him if he could get it for her, and he's like, I got you, and then he went, and I was surprised that they had everything that she needed at that shop.
It appears that Scully never gets rid of anything, so. Dude, the camera thing really made me laugh. And he's like, I need a camera. And he's like, he holds up a camera and goes, I'd like a tiny camera. And he holds up like a GoPro. He goes, no, like even smaller. He holds up an even smaller GoPro. That part fucked me up. That was cool.
Yeah. Because at that point,
really do just be having shit like that, though.
Well, people will just be stealing shit and bringing it to pawn shops.
True story.
Yeah, but the train scene was cool because they go to that bridge right before she gets on the train, and Biscuits has no idea what's going on. She's just like, "Hey, like, can we go for a drive?" And he's like, "Oh, sure, like, let's go." And they park at the bridge, and then she obviously takes his phone and like syncs it up
It's a
so that
tracking thing, yeah.
so that they can track each other. And she like anchors into the bridge, and I think she was just gonna go like going for like a jump into the water. I didn't even realize she was like going onto a train until it happened, which was pretty crazy.
Dude. Also, how many scenes like this are we going to get in these Marvel Disney series? Because there's a train scene in Captain America or in Falcon the Winter Soldier as well.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, dude, the way she swings onto the train was pretty fucking badass looking. It was cool.
Yeah, and I like that it wasn't like so graceful, like her landing.
No,
right?
she eats shit.
Yeah,
it's
so,
awesome.
Yeah, it was like way more believable. I'm like, all right, yeah, that's probably what would happen.
But yeah, the whole train part was fucking cool. The way she, avoids everybody to, sneak and whatnot was cool.
Uh-huh.
When she's fucking crawling up underneath of it, like, fuck that. Your core strength has to be on fucking point for that. And then she gets her leg fucking stuck after she's fucked with the cargo. And
yeah.
Even though it's not her real leg, I still winced.
Really, I was just surprised. I'm like, how the hell did she get her leg stuck? Because that shit's like, moves pretty slow. And I was like, all right, no, this just has to happen. So there's like some, dramatic thing to, make it, I guess, more like more intense, and it wasn't going to be so smooth. But was that was the first time she actually used her power, right? Was that the first time?
Yes.
Yeah.
To get her leg out.
Yeah.
Well, I guess her prosthetic out, not her leg. Dude, she did do one thing when she's jumping from train to train. It was a thing that they would make me do in rehab, which is stand on one leg and jump and land back on that leg.
Same, yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I did like that because it's like one of those things like paying attention to details. She's obviously handicapped.
Yeah, no, dude. The fact that the actress is actually deaf and an amputee is insane.
Oh, she is really.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No, I thought the amputee thing was just for the show. I didn't know.
No.
Interesting. That's crazy.
It's fucking crazy, right?
Yeah.
And I know a lot of like the jumps and stuff, they're using wires and whatnot, but the amount of like stuff that she actually does in the show is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like when she jumps off of the house later and lands, like it's clearly her. And I know they probably just used like mats and like cables.
Okay. You're talking about the scene when her uncle shows up. All
yes.
crazy. Okay. Yeah.
But like, I really appreciate that they fucking let her like just do some of this shit. Seems incredibly dangerous, but all right.
Yeah, and I like that she had to do some quick thinking, right? Because she got too far away from Biscuits.
Yeah.
And like the signal got dropped, so they weren't able to track each other. So she, had to think quick. She's like, "Oh my god, like how am I gonna like show him where I'm at, get his attention?" And then she starts like putting the
metal against the wheel. Yeah,
to create the sparks. And then sure enough, it caught Biscuit's attention, and he was able to find his way back to the train.
Dude, I totally forgot about that part. That part's fucking awesome. Yeah, no, that was really cool. Also, I love how shitty the jump was that she made. She fucking eats shit into that truck when she tries to jump onto it. I don't know. I like you talk about the swing onto the train. Like I did love like how often like the action was really messy. Like in like the stunt work was really messy because like it not everybody is not Tom Cruise. Everybody's not able to like just be like this perfect like stunt person. Real people are not used to jumping off trains onto I don't know, Euro trucks. And then I'm trying to think how the next thing is we see what she was doing with the train, which was putting a bomb in it.
I didn't realize she put a bomb in it until the bomb went off. Because remember she like lifted the lid. Yep. I thought she was just like, kind
tracking
of
it or something.
Like I thought she was just in awe of what she saw. Because I assumed it was like obviously some sort of like illegal weapons. But when she left, she didn't take anything. So I was like, oh, is that just like for intel? Like, why did they go through all this trouble? But then it wasn't until
she left something.
Yeah, it wasn't until you get to the warehouse scene where it's like, oh, this is what she was doing.
Dude, that explosion looked fucking awesome too.
Yeah.
Whatever fucking CGI explosion program they used looked fucking good.
And I like that it wasn't all at once, right?
I wrote that down.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah.
I wrote that down. I wrote the chain reaction part of it, made it feel incredibly realistic. Dude, yes, no. And that's where, like, dude, okay, hate this show or whatever. This show did a lot of things, really did think a lot of things out pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's one of them. Those are the little details that make it feel more real.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, God, I'm so fucking glad you noticed that too.
Yeah.
That really fucking got me. I wrote bomb realistically causing chain reaction. That is fucking awesome. And then the next thing we see is Biscuits is trying to sell his PlayStation over a CD radio in order to help pay to fix his grandma's car, which is so stupid.
Before he gets on the radio, his grandma is working, right? She's like she's a postal person, and you know she runs into like one of her like clients or whatever. She's like, oh, like new car today, and she's like, oh yeah, like Biscuits has my truck. And you see him in the background rolling by, the bumpers hanging off, and he's just like pretending like he's not there because like he's definitely caught. His grandma sees the truck all messed up.
Dude, that part fucking rules. Also, the car she's driving is awful.
Was it on hydraulics, right? Or
no,
what?
I think it was just like it was backfiring. Like,
oh,
crazy.
Okay. I wasn't sure what it was. It happened so fast. Like, this is crazy.
No, I think it was just kicking around. Also, when he's in the argument with Bonnie over the CB radio, and like pretends like he's like
cutting out.
He's like, oh, sorry, cutting out. Whatever. Let me know if you want the PlayStation. I realized who Biscuits reminds me of, and he reminds me of Zach Galifianakis.
Yes,
fucking every way.
Yes,
he has Galifianakis coded like crazy, dude. It really. After that, I loved him so much more. Yeah. Once I realized the type of character he was, everything he did was just stealing the show for me.
Wait, and at this point, like obviously, Echo's trying to stay low key from Bonnie. Doesn't want Bonnie to know she's in town, obviously, because she's not there for a good reason. But like, I don't know. Couldn't she have reached out earlier to be like, "Hey, I'm in town. Shit's going down. Like, stay away."
Stay away. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? That's what a smart person would have done. But Echo's kind of an idiot, dude. Maya's kind of an idiot.
Yeah.
She's not thinking through the repercussions of a lot of her actions.
Yeah, because she's leading with like her rage, right?
Yes.
Wanting to get revenge.
Which is all she's ever been told to trust by
Fisk.
Fisk.
She even tells him, like, remember in that one scene, which we'll get to, she's like, all I know is how to fight because, like, like that's what you
all
taught
you
me.
ever told me.
Yeah.
Dude, in this episode ends in what I wrote down for it was hand argument with Henry. The hand argument is so funny. Watching them angrily sign at one another is so fucking awesome. It rocks.
I hated Henry for not supporting his niece, early on. Cause it's just like, dude, you're involved in this dark underground world. You know how bad things can get. And once you hear that she shot Fisk in the face, like you should have been like, okay, there's no turning back. You crossed a line that should have never been crossed, but I got to get your back, right? Like don't wait until it gets to Tamaha to be like, all right, sorry, I got to get your back now. It's like, no, like how bad things already were. That's one thing that
the stuff they do with Henry's character through the series, like you really understand where he was coming from. And like wanting to keep this drama away, like when he talks about how he wanted to quit, but they threatened. They were like, "There's only one way you're out of this, and it's dying." And it's like, "Okay, I guess I'll keep being useful." And one thing I say we'll get to it later, but I think that Maya would have replaced Henry if she would have taken the deal.
Okay, got it. The one that Fisk offered her. Okay.
Mhm.
Like they would have killed her uncle.
Yeah, maybe.
Huh.
He's not going to give up New York. He's going to set her up somewhere else.
Interesting.
He's the king of New York. He's not giving up New York. Unless he's giving her the criminal stuff while he moves on to but he hadn't made the decision of what he's going to move on to till the end of the show, and we'll get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, episode 3 opens, and I was right. Episode 3 opens with the black and white, silent film style, Light Horseman story about, I guess this is her great grandmother.
Yeah, talking about like braiding her hair and
yeah, like the Choctaw warrior, and that's not something the women were allowed to do.
Which is funny because you look at Bonnie and Echo, they have their hair braided, but Henry and Biscuits, they don't have long hair to be braided.
Yep. I did think while watching the silent film part, I bet people hated this shit.
No, I like when they switched it up. So, and
I liked it, but
yeah.
also, and you probably liked it because we liked Werewolf by Night, man. I'm sorry, but like I'm game for them doing like weird shit, but I can imagine that the people who hated this shit really hated this part.
Yeah, seeing indigenous women getting trained to be a killer.
Yeah. No, they don't like that. But I did. I thought it was cool. I thought it was a cool little way to break it up. And dude, I am so stupid for not noticing. Like, yeah, at this point, episode 3, we have opened with a flashback sequence for all of these different episodes, showing these people echoing through the generations. Which that part, I was like, they're beating this in real hard right now. But you know what? Whatever. I'm not gonna be mad at them making this deeper. I'm trying to think what. Oh, the next thing that happens is her getting snagged up.
Oh, because she's like walking, and then she like I don't know if it was like her ancestors, I guess, were trying to warn her, but then she just didn't react fast enough because she wasn't sure what was going on, because she had that flashback.
She sees the bird. Did she see the bird again?
Yeah. The bird always pops up when the flash is happening, but then I forget who appeared in front of her. It was for like a split second, and then next thing you know, she's getting hit with that the rag
chloroform.
And chloroform.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, the bitches who fucking kidnapped her with what was it? Vicky. Vicky's the shitty dude, the scumbag.
Yeah, the guy who rents out the skates to people.
The girls who are his partners are two of the trashiest women I've ever seen, and I loved so much that one of them was listening or watching a YouTube video made by someone called Militia Mama. That shit really fucking got me.
The whole time I was just like, they don't look like they know how to handle those handguns, and it's like for sure Echo not tied up could whoop these girls no issue, even if they had those guns.
Yes. Which is why they needed chloroform. I really do you fuck with like Coen Brothers films at all?
Oh yeah,
like Fargo.
Did they do No Country for Old Men, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
This whole part felt very much like a Coen Brothers movie. Like some incompetent criminal stuff.
Yeah.
Well, No Country for Old Men's actually like a way more competent movie. But I'm thinking more like they also did like The Big Lebowski.
I've never seen that.
You've never seen The Big Lebowski?
Is that about that's bowling, right? Right? Is it bowling?
Bowling is central to it.
Okay.
It's their hobby in it, but it's mostly about scams and fraud.
Okay.
And ransom. It's a very stupid movie. It's one of John Goodman's best. But there's a lot of great stories about that, like what's behind that movie and whatnot. And Steve Buscemi's phenomenal in it as well. Okay. But he's in I think 70% of the Coen Brothers films. But yeah, it's very dumb. It's like regular people in a crazy dumb situation. And this very much felt like Coen Brothers influence. And also most Coen Brothers stuff is like middle of America, like Southwestern, or like it's either like Southwestern, like No Country for Old Men, or Middle America, or like North Middle America is where like Fargo takes place. It's good. Their shit's pretty good. There's like maybe like 4 or 5 films I haven't seen, but every one I've ever seen is very fun in its own way.
Yeah, I feel like there's another movie that they did that I've seen. It's bothering me. I have to look this up.
Yeah, they did Burn After Reading is one. They did The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, which is a Netflix movie.
Yeah.
This is great audio. That's Googling
the Coen Brothers movies. Yeah, I swear there was another one, but maybe there wasn't.
They did Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
I don't even know what that is.
You've never seen it? Oh, I mean, you're also like not white. I feel like this is incredible. They did Raising Arizona as well. That's the first Coen Brothers movie I ever saw. Was Raising Arizona. Have you ever seen that shit with Nicolas Cage?
No.
It's great. It's a movie where Nicolas Cage is like just really good in it.
Okay.
It's not just good because like he's ridiculous. He's actually really, really good in it. Yeah, they made a bunch of pretty good movies, but yeah, they did Hail Caesar too. I didn't see that, and it's been years since I've seen Fargo, but apparently the Fargo television show is phenomenal. Yeah, it's worth checking out.
Okay.
Any of their films are good, but yeah, dude. Waking up hanging from where a disco ball was hanging. That's rude.
Yeah, but they also did a really bad job of hanging her because she was able to. Like,
she immediately gets loose.
Yeah, and it's just like, all right, this is the kind of job that these criminals are doing. They don't deserve the ransom, because that was the whole reason why they captured Echo, is because Vicky knew that there was a ransom on her head for shooting Fisk, so he wanted to collect on that, which he didn't do a lot of thinking about this plan.
There's a really awesome, like, classic film thing that they do in this scene, which is, I think, funny, but with her foot falling off.
Mm-hmm.
She like breaks her foot off to get loose.
Okay.
And then when they bring her into the room, and that girl like carelessly throws her foot on the ground.
Okay.
So it was a Chekhov's knife or a Chekhov's gun, but with her foot, because her foot ends up being a knife that she uses to get loose once Bonnie gets in there with her. Dude, also, I really love the touch when she uses the window to see the reflection to know what's going on outside.
Mm-hmm.
The little touches of like thought that they did with the movie to like the time it takes to like shoot something like that from like multiple angles to like set up that shot just for like that like 2 seconds. They're just like showing her little bits of like cunning and like, you know, like foresight. I see so many lazy things that like when I see something like that, I'm like, some real thought went into like making that up like a pointed shot of like her like wanting to know what's going on outside or how in danger they are, and she just sees her just like fucking around with a toy.
That she built.
What?
Yeah, the toy that she built out of just like spare parts, like being locked in that room.
Yeah, dude, the skate gun is incredible.
Real quick, one of my favorite parts is when Henry tells Vicky, he's like, you really think they're gonna pay you?
Yeah.
And it just like immediately like from that moment on, he just casted doubt on like his whole plan, and like could
have been more right.
Yeah.
The next thing I wrote down was something Ashton made me write down, which is when Maya and Bonnie are arguing, I turned the volume up like it was going to help.
Why? That's funny.
My instinct was to turn the volume. She went, "Did you just turn the volume up to try to hear them sign language at each other better?" And I went, "Yes, I think I did."
That was kind of like a rough scene too, because it's just like she was avoiding Bonnie the whole time, and it's just like the first time you actually like come face to face, it's like you're both locked up, you guys are captured in this crazy situation, and it's just like Bonnie just didn't really know why or what the hell's going on.
Yeah, dude, it was pretty. Bonnie was like, I honestly was one of the main critiques I think I have of the show. So that actress is one of the main characters in Reservation Dogs. I know if anybody's annoyed with me talking about this, I'm so sorry. This might be the last time I bring it up.
Okay.
But she's one of the main characters. She's one of the best parts of the show. She does not do nearly enough in this show to warrant her being in it.
Yeah. No, for sure.
She is fucking awesome. She's also the voice of the indigenous character in the What If series.
I was going to bring up that, but later on.
Yeah. I forgot that until we saw her in this, and I went, "Oh shit, I knew actually she was going to show up in this," because when we were doing the What If thing, I looked up and saw that, and then was like, "Oh shit, she's an Echo." But yeah, the next thing is the MacGyver gun, which is pretty crazy. Esther at Militia Mamas. Or I wrote Esther at Militia Mommies. This bitch is red pilled, which really made me laugh.
Yeah.
The way she held the gun, though, you're right, dude. These bitches had no idea what they were doing.
Yeah. Like,
she gets immediately whooped.
Yeah. It's like, I wouldn't have felt threatened at all. Right.
No. She was holding the gun very much like when that Black Lives Matter march was going through, I think it was St. Louis in Missouri, and that guy came out with his AR-15, and that like Karen came out with her little revolver, and they pointed it at all the black people. The way she was holding her little revolver, if you Google that picture, that is straight up exactly the way this bitch held that gun, which is not from a point of power. Like, if you shoot somebody with your hand like that, you're gonna hurt your wrist.
Yeah.
And you're gonna miss. Like, there's just no way. But yeah, and then the next thing we see is Vicky's kill.
That kind of like left my jaw dropped. I was like, "Oh, this is really fucking brutal."
Brutal. That's what I wrote. Brutal.
Yeah.
Holy shit, dude. The way he chokes on his blood. Like, the thing is, he gets shot while he's trying to escape. He's trying to jump out of the way. And they like double tap him in the back.
Yeah.
He easily could have just fell face down on the table and just been like dead. And instead, he flips over.
Yeah, he's staring at Bonnie and Henry.
Just blood just burst out of his fucking mouth, and it's all running down his face and his eyes and shit. That part fucking rocked. I hated that guy. I was so stoked to see him get shot.
Yeah, same here. I didn't feel any sympathy for him, but it was just like crazy how like it all played out.
Yeah. Also, the dude who shot him is bootleg Michael Rooker, the guy who played Yondu.
I just kept thinking, I was like, they obviously see how popular Conor McGregor is, so they're like, all right, we need some crazy like Irish dude to try to play a big role in this.
Dude, he's just short Michael Rooker. That was my takeaway from that guy. Dude, when the lights go out and fucking Dragula kicks on.
Although, honestly, I don't feel like this song went with the scene, if I'm being honest.
I just think that's a very hard-ass thing to play when you're trying to scare people.
Yeah. But it was a cool scene. Obviously, we get to see her showcase her fighting skills again and use...
laser blaze, essentially. Oh, fuck. I realized... Oh, dude, it's so funny. So the laser tag place in Louisville is called Laser Blaze.
Okay.
So I just always call laser tag Laser Blaze. It's like just... That's what it canonically is in my head, and I realize when I say that, like, nobody else is going to know what Laser Blaze is. But yeah, I miss our laser tag place.
Oh, is it closed now?
It's closed. Me and Dave Bogger used to go there and like just fuck up 12-year-olds. It was really fun.
we have one laser tag place. It's still around, surprisingly. It's called Laser Quest, but
Is it like old school?
Yeah, it's like 2 stories. It's pretty crazy.
That's sick. Is it like, so it's like from like the 90s or whatever?
Oh yeah. It's an old.
That's sick.
Yeah, it's an old.
You see,
building.
that's the thing is we have like some laser tag places, but they're all like new and they're just, if it's not like a big wooden like structure with like different levels and like that has that like vibe of like nobody's ever vacuumed here, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure.
If it doesn't have that vibe, if it feels too sanitized, I do not want to play laser tag there. I want to play laser tag in black lights in a room that if they were to turn on the main lights, I would be mortified. But as long as it's just black lights and running around in the dark in the fog, it's cool.
The fog machines.
But yeah, she fucks those guys up.
Yeah, and real quick, how did she know to be in there? Because remember, like everything's going off, and they're like yelling at Henry, like, "How do we turn this off?" He's like, "Oh, he's like, go to the laser tag room." Like,
I mean, she was a little kid there, so she would have grown up probably going to that skating rink when she was little.
Yeah, just that was an interesting tactic, but it definitely worked out well because it was cool to see her kind of just like emerge from the shadows and taking them out like one by one before the fight got to the like the actual rink.
Dude, fucking John Wick style too. It was the fight choreography in it was very good, and I really liked some of the ways they like framed it. It really felt like you were like flipping through a comic book. Like there were a couple moments where like the fight like would like you'd see him like do something and then it would like panel over and then like panel over to like the next move, and it really did feel like comic book action. A lot of great moments. The pinball body slam
with a glass,
fucking sick. Fucking sick, dude. That part rocked. That part was cool. The arcade guns being used as whips was sick.
Yeah, the whole time the fight was going on, I was just so curious. I'm like, how is she going to get them out of this?
She isn't going to get them out of this.
Yeah. It was like, right? They were all about to die.
Dude, the skee ball like weapons though, like before we move on to how this ends, just pinball body slam. She uses arcade guns as whips, and she basically beats people up with a mad ball.
Yeah, and
hard.
For anybody who's ever played like skee ball, those things are pretty
suck.
thick. Yeah. I wouldn't want to be hit with one of those.
No, not at all. But yeah, and then it cuts to she's they're all about to get shot. Also, anytime we get this, we've gotten it in so many of these where like somebody goes through and like royally fucks up a big group of people and then afterwards has to like sit in a room with them while they all are like severely injured. Like I think Captain America Winter Soldier, he fucks up all those guys in the elevator. And then later on, he like runs back into those guys, and they like none of them look very good. Like clearly, these are the guys who got their asses kicked earlier by you, and now they're here for more.
Yeah, and a lot of that in Iron Fist too.
Yes. But yeah, so Fist calls, and they do not get killed.
Yeah, and yeah, as soon as I was like, okay, the only person that I could be calling is Fisk, but I was just like, it always like amazes me like how much influence he has over like the criminals, because they were about to get their revenge right on her blowing up their warehouse, and then it's just like, all right, like Fisk says no, so we just gotta follow what he says, and they all just take off. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's upper management, dude. You don't want to lose your job. You don't want to risk your job and your position. You've worked your way up. You don't have to load trucks anymore or do any of that dumb shit. You get to get your ass kicked in a skating rink now for a job. I don't know. I'd rather load a truck.
Yeah. Because getting hit.
Although the loading truck guys are the guys who also get blown up by the bomb.
Yeah. Guess there's perks to each position.
Yeah, for sure. And I wrote new leg pretty sick. Did she get her new leg before episode 4? I can't remember now.
No, I think she gets it in episode 4.
Maybe I accidentally wrote that because I know that episode 3 ends with her showing up at her house and Fisk is there. Correct?
Yes. Or maybe she gets. Does she get the temporary one, and he's working on that plate for her?
No, she gets the temporary one, and that's what she does the skating rink fight in.
Yeah,
the temporary leg. Yeah, episode 4 is mostly like a lot of background of her and Fisk's relationship.
Which, why did he take such a liking to her and want to like mentor her? Was it because he knew that he's like ruin her whole family?
I think he legitimately felt. I think he just felt bad. I mean, Fisk is one of the most sympathetic villains that they have portrayed on screen. Given that was Netflix that did it originally, and now that he's in the MCU, at least they're not like trying to like recreate the character. They're just letting D'Onofrio be the same exact Fisk that he was in the Daredevil series, keeping the same exact like visuals from his backstory and whatnot with the hammer and the wall and everything. So I think him looking at Maya as a young girl who's just lost her mother, I think that because I mean after Fisk killed his dad, didn't his mom go take the fall for that?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
I think his mom took the fall for it because he visits her in Daredevil in the mental institution. Because she took the fall and like fled insanity. And she ends up institutionalized. Probably based on how insane it would be for her to watch her son beat her husband to death. For her. But yeah, so I would assume because he had his parent, he killed his dad and had his mother taken away from him, that endeared him to looking at this little girl who just had her mom taken away from her. And yeah, I would assume that he just saw himself in her, and that's what.
And he's like, "Wait, she only lost her mom. I need to kill her dad so she can lose her dad like me."
Yeah.
Huh.
But killing her dad was just business.
Yeah, he was probably doing something shady.
Well, he set up Hawkeye to go there.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying like maybe like her dad was doing something like shady.
Oh yeah.
In the business, so that like he wasn't like he was probably stealing some extra money or yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's what they always do. So it's crazy. People in criminal organizations do crime. Who would have fucking thought?
Yeah.
Who would have fucking thought that they'll steal from like banks and like strangers, and they'll also steal from like people they know? It's crazy. Most people steal from people they know. I feel like.
Yeah, and
most theft is from people they know.
100%.
But yeah, so I think that's that. I mean, to me, it makes sense because also she's so cute.
I felt. You remember the ice cream man scene? Dude, she just got out of school, probably, long day at school, fucking bullshit homework, teachers are being annoying, and all she wants is ice cream. And you got this ice cream man yelling at her, like, use your words. And it's just like, how does he not pick up on that? Yeah. She probably can't speak. And oh god, I was happy that the ice cream man got fucking destroyed.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, he deserved that.
Dude, I've got two people. I joke about it, there's this kid Jude. He's African at work, and this guy David, who is a stroke survivor and mostly nonverbal since his stroke at work. And they are two of the brightest, happiest presents to be around at work. They are so awesome. They're so sweet. They get asked 90% of the questions by customers. It's like I call them question magnets. The people gravitate towards them for questions. So anytime I'm around them and I'm like moving through the area that they are, I linger for a second, because almost every time I'm passing them, a customer will pass me and ask them a question. And then I'll have to be like, this is it. Because I know Jude is going to try his best, but he does not speak good English. And David fucking can't. So like, I'm like always like hyper aware, and I've seen people have an interaction with them and then be like disgusted.
Jeez.
That they just have one of them legitimately just doesn't know language. The other one had something traumatic happen to his brain. And I've watched people be rude to them.
That's whack.
It's crazy. Yeah, so I'm that ice cream man. No, I'm not shocked. Not shocked. But you'd think somebody in like the service industry would be equipped of trying to understand another person so that, you know, they can make their fucking living. But so yeah, if anybody is that stupid to react that way to a little girl who's obviously like not nonverbal in some way, deserves to be beaten in the street, and he had it coming.
And the best part
she runs up and kicks him.
Dude, Fisk is like, don't be afraid, she just runs up there.
He's so scared that she's gonna look at him different.
Yeah, and she's like, no, she's like, I'm on that same time, and she's just like kicking the guy. I was like, oh, that's awesome. Hell yeah.
Dude, did you notice when like the first few hits, he hits that guy so fucking hard? I was like, I love that they're still doing, like, regardless of like letting him talk the same way, giving him the same like visual, like artistic representations of his backstory and everything. I love that they're doing his violence the same way.
Yeah, dude, he was so bloody. His white suit was just covered in blood.
After like the second hit, his hand is just soaked. And it's just like, oh, that is just beautiful. I fucking just loved it. No, just more of it. I can't wait for fucking Daredevil, dude.
That was awesome.
Yeah, it fucking rocked. I wrote that down too. And the next thing I've got for this episode is when has the conversation with Maya, and he's like, we are the only ones we can trust. And then he tells the interpreter that she can go away now.
Why did he kill her?
I don't know, but it was hard.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, okay, all right. He's like excusing the lady. I'm like, all right, maybe it's like the shift is over. And then you see her getting walked down this hall, and you see all like the Dexter
tarped off. I was like, dude, my immediate, I'm so fucking stupid. I was like, oh, they're doing some renovations.
No, I was like, she's dead.
And you see her, doo, doo. And then I love that the camera like follows her down the hall and then cuts back to them. You hear the doo, doo, and then the camera goes back and you see them like starting to take the tarp down around her. Yeah, I saw that, and Ashley was like, yeah, they were renovating, they were decorating the walls. It made me think about, have you seen The Irishman?
Yes.
We haven't finished it, but I've seen like the first like hour and a half of it, and we just didn't have time to finish it with my mom. I really want to rewatch it from the beginning, but it reminded me of what De Niro says he does for a job. He paints houses.
It's code, yeah.
Yeah, painting houses.
Yeah, it's a long movie, so yeah.
Yeah, and then the next scene we see is, dude, the sign language contact is nuts.
If I'm gonna be honest, when the goons like grabbed her and Fisk like walked up to her, I thought he was gonna kind of go like
her eye out too.
Eye for an eye type deal. But then He's like, oh no, here's a contact so I can communicate with just you. You know, there's no middle person.
I think you were reacting how they wanted you to react.
Yeah.
I think we were all supposed to think that. Also, the idea of somebody forcefully putting a contact in is so scary.
I can imagine, because I've never wanted to do contacts, because I've had so many friends who wore contacts and just see them struggle and hear horror stories about contacts. I'm like, I never want to wear contacts.
I'll only do the dailies.
Okay.
I do the dailies, and I just do them for like gigs, but and I always take them out and never reuse them. I just do them for the one day and then throw them. And I've made like a 90-day supply last like 2 years. Yeah, I can't imagine someone else putting my contacts in for me.
Yeah, because you're not like, yeah, they, you know, you're moving your eye in a bunch of different ways, and they're like, you know, trying to find it. Yeah, it doesn't seem fun.
Fucking terrifying. Dude, the sign language contact is crazy. Do you know of the Google glasses that can translate speech to text on your glasses?
Yes.
So I was like, I saw that and I was like, oh, that's like a real technology.
Mm-hmm.
Like we actually have that now. The thing that was awesome though, that this dreamt up, which I was like, I don't understand. Cause when he's speaking to her
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, rather than doing the text, it's just doing the sign language. His thing is reading her sign language and translating it to sound.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, that is different from what we have now, but really fucking cool idea.
Well, I don't know if you're aware of like the, like there's like these Google Buds where obviously it's not going to do sign language, but it'll live translate a conversation with somebody.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah. No, I've from between different languages and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have heard that. And I know that like you can just use your iPhone and do Google Translate and just have a full on conversation with no fucking, like no problem whatsoever. That kind of shit. That's where technology is good. Can we just do that? And like whatever AI is going into that is the only AI worth investing in. I'm sorry.
We're screwed.
We're screwed.
AI, Terminator, Skynet.
No, it's not that. It's not. The thing is, it's not Skynet. It's the next financial crisis. It's 2008 too. It's.
What do you mean?
Like with all the money that's gone into AI, that's not going to get any return on investment, and all this stuff is going to end up with companies going fucking bankrupt again. And it's going to end up with a bunch of people losing their fucking ass when the stock market fucking crashes again.
Well, that's why you got to buy Bitcoin. Future proof.
Jamie, I read a whole book on how Bitcoin's a scam. I don't disagree with it.
Bitcoin's not a scam.
Bitcoin might be the only cryptocurrency that is worth anything. And I don't think.
Yes, if you invested into any coin that your favorite influencer or musician told you to go buy, you're an idiot.
Yeah, but you see, that's why I look at Bitcoin like I looked at Heavier Than Heaven, Lonelier Than God. It might be a good thing, but it's a sign of things to come, and none of it's going to be good after that.
It'll be good once the US dollar gets exposed and we find out its real worth. Its real worth is how much work you can do in an hour or a day of labor. That is the only worth that anybody has, is what they can do with their time. That's why money is worth time. Invest in Bitcoin. Thank me after the aliens arrive. It is way too late to invest in Bitcoin. The only way you can give that advice in like good conscience is with a fucking time machine. That is true. I know. No, all jokes aside, I regret not buying Bitcoin for like $100 in like 2011 or whatever, or how much it was back then. But it's all. I regret you not doing that too. It's okay. I got a stack full of NFTs in here. That's gonna save me. So in here.
Don't get me fucking started on NFTs and the money laundering scheme that it is. Episode ends with Fisk showing the hammer and letting her know that he killed his dad.
Yeah, that whole dinner scene was tense, right? Because
Oh yeah, no, that happens after the hammer thing happens after the dinner. Yeah, the dinner was tense. Dude, I did love that she just poured the wine right out. That was funny.
Why did she do that?
She thought it was poison.
Interesting, because it was sealed. So I'm like, oh, it's sealed. You're fine.
You can fucking stick a needle through a cord.
Okay, but he was gonna have to. Oh, so but he was gonna have to drink it too. What he was gonna chill. But oh no, you pour the wine, you drink.
You ever
it.
seen The Princess Bride?
Yes.
I spent years. What poison is it that he spent years getting himself accustomed to so that he could drink?
Yeah, but that was funny when he's like, where's whatever, and then it's just like there's the Shasta just chilling right there. Yeah, but the whole time I was worrying, I was like, when is he gonna snap? Because like remember, there's the moment where the knife drops.
Yeah,
and then they both go for it, but then he grabs it. And then he's like pointing it at her, and then he flips it around to be like, "All right." He's like, "I'm not going to kill you." Because the whole time I was waiting for him just to like strangle her or something, like go like off in this like crazy rage.
Iocane poisoning. That's from Princess Bride. Yeah, no, I was. I knew he wasn't going to go do some rage, but I knew we were just supposed to feel so fucking unnerved because he's so unnerving. Also, the music they're using in that scene is incredibly not fun. It really put me on edge. I did not like it.
The perspective when he comes out of the shadows in the very beginning, and he just looks so big, right? Because obviously he's supposed to be like giant compared to everybody else. Like, I'd be startled too. Like, holy shit, what's this big fucker doing here?
Absolutely. But yeah, then so at the end of that, then she goes to his hotel to kill him. And then he tells the story about the hammer, and she is so this is the part where the show gets messy for me.
Okay.
This is the part where the show gets messy for me, because it feels like this is a forced reaction from her to be like, and you know what? I just changed my mind.
Okay, you're allowed to do that.
With so many things, I think about something for like one more second, and I'm like, no, actually, this makes sense. Because she is not so scared. It's not that she doesn't want. You see, for me, I think that she should be able to relate and empathize with his pain and his loss.
Mm-hmm.
But her fear takes over. And it's not that she's afraid of Fisk. She's afraid of her becoming Fisk.
Okay. Yeah, because she's walking that fine line because they're so similar.
Mm-hmm. And that's what it is. And I did not correctly understand that scene the first time. But now that we're doing the thing that I love to do more than anything, which is talk about this shit afterwards, I'm understanding some of the story a little bit better because just talking it out for a second, thinking about something for one more second, it makes sense.
Yeah, I think that scene, that's when I realized, okay, Fisk isn't there to hurt Maya. He's actually trying to like, reconcile and prove to her that, hey, like he just wants things to go back to the way they were. Like when he's yelling at her to smash him with the hammer, that was intense.
Yes. Because part of him does want that, actually.
Oh yeah. Like he
thinks he's a bad person.
Oh yeah, of course. That's why he carries that hammer to that's that reminder.
Yeah, no, that part is really fucking intense. Changing my mind on this shit. Yo, before we get into the last episode, can I go pee real quick?
Yeah, and also I know you have a heart out, so I'm.
Oh, it's not that hard actually.
Okay, all right.
It's just an eventual. We should be done in the next hour, and we only got one more episode to go through.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, I just didn't want to keep you too long. But all right.
Oh no, you're good. I'll be right back. Our doors fucking swell in the summer, so sometimes the doors are impossible to open. So I'm really glad that was.
That's crazy.
Good to see that. That was awesome.
So last episode, right? Last episode. Was it the last episode?
Yes, episode 5.
Oh, because he leaves her with the the choice, like hey, like I'm here till this day. My jet's gonna take off. Like I would love for you to show up and come
go back to normal.
Yeah, kind of run New York with me.
Yeah, and then they lose her. And
yeah, where was she going?
I think she was just running. I think she was running just like she ran here from New York. She's running away more. And
she would have kept running until she got the text from Biscuits. Like, hey, have you seen Henry or Bonnie? Or no, not Henry. Grandma's
Bonnie
name.
Bonnie or Chula.
Yeah. And then that's where she kind of realizes, like, oh shit, shit's going down.
Through. Yeah, he's coming from a family. Also, we open with the flashback episode, or the flashback. What I think. So the flashback for episode 4, I think is the ice cream beating.
Mm-hmm.
And the flashback for episode 5 is her fucking that woodpecker up with the slingshot.
I love that she lies to her mom. She's like, "Oh, he just fell," and obviously her mom knows
knew
better
immediately.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, birds just don't fall," and then she had to, confess that she hit it, but didn't mean to hurt it.
Yeah, she just wanted to see if she could, which is such a kid thing to do.
Yeah, no, I've done that before. When I was younger, I used to have to walk to the bus stop, and there was like hella like road runners in the neighborhood, and they were fast. So I was like, I bet I could hit them with a rock. And I would try, and one day I fucking hit that motherfucker, and his wings, kind of went up.
Is this in the IE or whatever?
Palm Springs area, back in La Quinta. But yeah, I hit it. It's like wings went up, feathers went everywhere, and I was like, oh shit. But luckily it didn't die. I wasn't that strong. I was like in the 4th grade. I hit it, but I felt bad, and that fucker just ran off even faster than it normally did. But I never did that again because I felt bad.
Well, yeah, that's accurately represented in this show as a very little kid thing to do. So that happens, and her mom ends up healing her. She sees this power that her mom has.
And I was just like, because they don't really explain what the power is. It's just like your hands start glowing, and you can do stuff that you normally aren't able to do.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's be strong, and then sometimes it's heal a woodpecker. Dude. So the next thing I can remember that happens in this is when they're looking for her now, and the powwow's starting, and then everybody's like dancing out, and she's like blending into the crowd.
Oh wait, but before the powwow, remember she goes back to her grandma's place. Can remember her grandma like
and she sees the fucking suit. Yeah,
and then she has like that moment with her mom. Remember
her mom?
She sees her mom again.
That part's sick.
Yeah, and it's like one of those things too. It's like, all right, this is like going along with like these series where it's like it's always like like towards the end of the series where we get to see them in their like actual like costume that we've been wanting to see them in like for the whole season.
I liked the fit she was wearing in the 4th episode, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like the more like I don't know, like tactical, like the maroon with the like for no reason like harness strap thing.
Yeah, it's like
there's no gun on that.
Yeah, it's like
I don't know what that's for. But
no purpose for this.
I mean, well, to a certain extent, like there's a reason why. There's a reason why plate carriers are designed the way they are for military, and it's to hold the plates to like protect you from a bullet if it's to hit you. But more than anything, it's so that when you're hit and you're unable to move, if you're wearing a plate carrier, you're easier to drag.
Okay.
Because you've got this thing that's like kind of harnessed you in, so they can just grab you by the shoulders and drag you if they need to. So like there's a functional aspect to this that is that I can appreciate, which isn't the idea that it's going to protect you. It's the idea that's going to make it's easier to help you when you're in trouble, because they factored in that more often than not, people are actually just going to be in trouble. I mean, it's why they put a harness on you when they like airlift you out of something. It's because you want to have you as secure as you possibly can. Yeah. So I could see her having that, just so if somebody needed to grab hold of her, they could do that. But more often than not, in a Marvel movie, it's going to be the villain who's going to grab a hold of you. So I don't know why you'd want to help them. But yeah, no, her new suit was cool.
The powwow
is the next thing, the powwow.
Yeah, because it's kind of like setting like the stage for like the final act, right? Because you see the henchmen kind of social engineer their way past Biscuits to get in, because he's like, oh, this is really the
by
vendors.
Just not listening to him.
Yeah, they just give him zero respect,
which is a fucking crime. Biscuits should be given the utmost. I'm trying to think when it starts to hit the fan.
Well, it starts to hit the fan when so she snuck into the powwow, because she's blending in with everybody, like marching in, and it's not until she goes into that tent.
Yes. And then Bonnie and her grandma get brought out. But then I'm trying to remember, like, what's the deal with... I really just don't know what that Michael Rooker looking dude was going to shoot our fucking rocket at.
I think he's just shooting into the crowd.
Kill people? Kill the crowd?
Yeah.
Insane. That's nuts.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he was just going to say, like, YOLO, we're going to just blow up. Because Fisk tells her, like, hey, like, like, I'm going to, kill everybody that you love.
Yeah, I guess. But she really didn't care about that many.
Yeah, because
for the people in that room.
Yeah, because she didn't interact with anybody else throughout the whole show, like, from Tamaha.
Yeah, and then the only two other people she cared about actually killed everyone else.
Yeah.
Because Henry shoots the guy with the rocket launcher, and everyone just thinks it's fireworks, which is funny.
Yeah.
That definitely isn't how an RPG works, but you know what? For the sake of the show, it's fine.
And Biscuits goes and gets that monster truck, and dude.
Okay, I wrote something down for that part. When Biscuits gets in the monster truck and he runs over the two vans, Ashton, we were just sitting there watching it, like, jaw dropped, and Ashton just goes, "They're just all dead."
Yeah, they're smashed. They can't do anything.
They're all just dead. That's what she said. And I fucking laughed so hard. Ooh, that part was fucking good. And then we end up with the end fight, which was like so close to corny.
But this is the reason why I didn't think it was corny, was because this reminded me of that What If episode where, she kind of like called.
Yo, you're fucking right.
Yeah, she called, the powers of the people. Yeah. So I was like,
she was able to give that power out to other people. Oh, you're fucking right, dude. No. Okay. Honestly, it wasn't that makes me like it more.
Okay.
But the corniness for me was just watching her grandma and Bonnie do the fighting.
Okay.
Looked unnatural.
Yeah, more of the grandma than Bonnie, but
definitely the grandma. But it just didn't look as natural. It definitely looked more. I mean, though I do appreciate how much of it was like real stunt people. like on wires, like getting thrown around. That's cool, and I really respect that. But as far as like the fight choreography goes, it's just so much more obvious that the girl playing Echo put way more work into preparing for the fight choreography than everybody else, because everyone else was just kind of looked like they were like playing, and she was like actually like fucking people up, which I don't know. But I did love how she beat Kingpin with therapy.
That was crazy, because it's just like she remember they introduced like that skill like right at the beginning of the episode, and then here she is, instead of using violence, she knows what's wrong with Fisk, right? Yep. So she's like, all right, I'm going to try to heal him like my mom healed this bird that was damaged.
Dude, that part was awesome.
Yeah. But
I really loved it. I really loved that she's just also, did you pick up the few things that Fisk did know sign language wise?
No.
There were like a couple times where he actually did sign something, and because she like brings that against him, she's like, you never even learned how to sign.
Yeah, she's like
that's how little you cared. And then you find out actually he does know how to do some of it.
Yeah, because that was at the very end. He was actually using sign to
Yeah. So that part really hit me. But just dude, that part where she's just like, you're not alone. It's okay. Like,
dude, seeing that scene, and Fisk like as a grown man,
he's so freaked out. He's so freaked out to be back there, and it's so like, because this is just everything he's trying to avoid at all times. Is that room and that wall. He's trying to avoid that at all costs. Like, I just like facing like what he did, and also like everything that led up to that moment, that like he's never been the same since. And I love how much it freaked him out. I love how much it freaked him out, the idea that like somebody like was there for him at that moment when there was no one. And like, I just love that. I love that was like, she knew that's how she could beat him. Like, that's how she could get him to go away, was to, and I don't know. I'm really curious what it means.
Yeah, because like, he left in a disturbed state. He's like, what did you do to me? And he still didn't even know.
Yeah. So I'm really curious how any of this is going to play back in, or what it is. But I did really like that, like crescendo of the action, like that climax moment of her getting in his head, and basically like not getting in his head and being like, you sick little fuck, like you freak, like fuck you, like getting in his head and being like, hey, like this sucks. This really fucking sucks. Like, I'm sorry this happened to you. That was really moving, and I don't get why people hated this so much, honestly.
Me either. I feel like it kind of came at a point where Marvel,
it is slow-ish, but I thought it was all worth it.
Yeah, for 5 episodes, I don't feel like, because I feel like 5 episodes, you kind of have to walk a fine line. Like, it can't be too fast, because then people are like, what the hell? This all seems rushed. I feel like it was fine.
And it was a nice little self-contained story, which is, I think I talk about this pretty often when we talk about these things, when it feels like, why isn't so-and-so showing up right now?
Yeah, I read this comment because I was looking into the fact that it's like under the Marvel Spotlight banner, which nothing has been under Marvel Spotlight since then. But Daredevil will be under Marvel Spotlight.
Is it because it's mature content?
No, it's because they want it to be like, this is what they want to kind of regulate all like the street level self-contained stories to be. So, so you're saying that you like that. And then I read this comment, which kind of like, I can't stop thinking about, and they're just like, you know what? I like this. They should stop trying to connect everything, because it seems like they're messing it up more by trying to keep everything connected. So they're like, all right, like we like that. This Marvel Spotlight's going to be like for like the street level stuff, the more self-contained stories.
But it's still so connected.
Yeah. But not like,
like they bring up Madripoor. like it's leading into Daredevil. Like
yeah, but
it is still connected.
But it's not so focused on pushing the major narrative,
the main
right?
story.
Yeah.
Which no, and you're right, dude. That is the best way to do this. Like the best way is not like to like. I can't remember if I've mentioned this before in us talking about this, but I read this book a few years ago about like infrastructure and whatnot. I can't remember if we ever talked about it on any of these podcasts. It's like a fucking dense ass book about like the way cities, basically the way like cities and villages and like communities used to be built. And like, for example, like when we did like westward expansion, like you would start out with like a few settlers would like, you know, set up shop. There'd be like, you know, a hotel, a bar, a goods store, maybe a post office. And then from there, like people would start like settling around an area. And you don't start with permanent structures. You start with a structure that you're not sure if you're going to be staying. And it's how you end up like, when you look at like other countries still do this to a certain extent, it's how you end up with like favelas in Brazil and like that whole system where nobody really owns that land. They're all just living on it. And you know, put your shacks together, you put your different like structures together. And then as like commerce and more people are living there, then someone at some point is going to propose, well, let's make a road. And the community is now invested in making a road. And you make a road, and then after you made a road, you're like, well, what about waste? And we need to figure out like how drainage is going to work and whatnot. And then the community invests in figuring out drainage. And then, well, what about power? Where can we get power from? And then you bring power to it. And then, well, how about like a cement street? And like, how about, you know, brick buildings instead of wooden buildings? And that's how like things used to get built. When I was like after reading this, like when we watched the Deadwood series, I was like, oh, I see so much of like, this is how we used to develop places, was in this manner of having a main street. And then from there, everything just kind of like sprawls out. And then as it sprawls, we like develop things a little bit more, but it's all done in increments. And after World War II, in the boom of American economy and the car culture that we live in because of, you know, the car companies lobbying for us to not have public transportation, we had to have all these different permanent infrastructures made. So when you see like a cul-de-sac being built and all these houses are being built with power and all their drainage and everything is built to like be new and functioning at the same level as everything else. Because we build everything like to its finished point now without doing like these little incremental investments, like we're not sure if we're going to stay here yet or not, or we're not sure if this area is always going to be inhabited. So we don't want to just like build everything to finish. That's why now we've had this retraction of where you used in like the 70s and 80s, a lot of people with white flight and everything, everybody moved out to the suburbs, and you ended up with all these different businesses that opened up to facilitate life in the suburbs. And then now people are retracting back to the cities, and you're leaving the suburbs without anybody to pay the taxes, to maintain the roads, to maintain any of the infrastructure that you built out on these, out in these like outlying areas around the town. So there's no money, there's no investment to maintain any of this shit. So that's why you can end up with cities like Detroit and St. Louis that have entire neighborhoods that are just abandoned because there's just nobody there to maintain the function of it. And Marvel is trying to build their universe the same fucking way, rather than building it with small investments and increments like they did at the beginning. With the Iron Man movies and the Captain America movies, because that is the smarter way to build something is to build it incrementally rather than reaching a point where you're just like, no, we build everything to finish. We know a 5-year plan for everything all the time. And it's just, it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable at all. And we're seeing that in the way our cities are. So it makes sense that like the way just American consumerism is, that we would apply the same standards we were applying towards housing and in that industry, and we're just applying that to making comic book movies. This is like one of these things is different and not the same. We should just, not everything has to be built to finish.
Yeah, I think they were just a victim of their own success, right? Because there was a point where Marvel could do no wrong, but then they started doing a lot of wrong. So they're trying to course correct. Obviously,
it's cart before the horse shit.
Mm-hmm, for sure. Yeah. So obviously we see that with them cutting back on the amount of content that's being put out. And hopefully we can get back to a point where everything's all good and not just wondering like, oh, I hope it's going to be good situation.
I really fucking hope, dude. And this made me hopeful, honestly.
Yeah, no, for
this
sure.
Flew under the radar, and I pleasantly liked it. There were only a couple moments, even with like the action sequences, that I was like, that could have been done a little better. But you know what? I get that this is all done in like one take sort of situation. Like that initial Daredevil fight before he's involved, when it's all just like the goons fighting each other. Like I could see like a few like WWE style hits on people. Mm-hmm. Where like there wasn't a connection here. It's all pantomime. But then after that, I was like, oh no, this actually looks pretty fucking good. I'm game for this. This looks just as good as the Daredevil action we had in those hallway fights. So if we can get more of this out of Marvel, I'm fucking thrilled, dude. Because at least it's fun.
Yeah. Well, we had the post-credit scene. That was like the last thing to talk about. Mm-hmm.
Which is like clear, like Trump references.
Yeah.
I did like that.
Yeah. And also I do like that he's also like, he's had this like traumatic thing where Echo was trying to fix him. Maybe she did fix him. We don't really know yet. But now leading into, Daredevil, Born Again, we're going to hopefully get to see a different side of Fisk or a different version of Fisk.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to see politician Fisk. But I love that news. Most voters want someone who is a fighter, which works against career politicians. I heard that and I was like, that is so fucking perfect.
Yeah.
That is so on point with how, and who can fucking blame him is I hope the point of this, and who can fucking blame them when career politicians have not given them anything to believe in. It makes sense that you would listen to somebody who you feel is of you, who's of the people.
Yeah.
Even if they are out to fuck everyone over for their own personal gain, like it would make sense. And this isn't me saying Trump's of the people. Trump is of course not of the people, but Fisk is.
Yeah, he fixed, or he was trying to fix Hell's Kitchen.
Fix.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was trying to fix it so that he can make the most money out of it and avoid anybody else encroaching on his territory. But I am, I don't know. I am interested. I'm interested if we're going to end up with a situation where Fisk is like going to be in like I would like to see them do with Fisk what The Godfather does with Michael Corleone, which is him spending all this time trying to go legitimate.
Mm-hmm.
To find that there's just no way for someone in your position to do it.
Yeah, well, there's a storyline where he, does that, and he, hires like a version of the Thunderbolts to kind of be his muscle. So it's possible. I don't know how. Yeah. I'm very happy that Daredevil is happening again. I never thought it would. But the fact
they did everything that I wanted them to do as far as who they brought back to.
Yeah.
Bringing back D'Onofrio, bringing back the kid who played Bullseye. Once I heard that, I was like, I don't fucking care. They can't go wrong with this. I don't see me being disappointed at all. And then to find out that Bernthal's going to be in it too, I was like, well, just whole gang's back, man.
Yeah, but
Let's
now
fucking go.
But now it just has me wondering, like, where's Jessica Jones, where's Connie Chung, where's Iron Fist, Luke Cage. Bring the whole gang back.
I hope they bring Mike Coulter back so much. He was so fucking good.
Dude, yeah, and I just hated that they left us off at such an interesting spot with Luke Cage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just another thing, I feel like in terms of like perfect casting, I don't want to see any of those characters recast.
Me either. Even Finn, whatever played Danny.
Finn Jones or whatever.
Finn Jones, yeah. Even Finn Jones. I liked Iron Fist season 2, dude. I really did.
Yes, and I love that in Defenders, like the first scene is we see like Danny Rand and get to show off his martial arts, right? Because that was a big criticism of season 1. It's like, oh, he can't do martial arts, but it's like, dude, he didn't get enough time to actually train and practice it. But when he did, and you see what he does in Defenders,
wasn't it like 3 months he had to prepare, something like that?
I think it was less than that. Yeah. But yeah, just stuff like that. So yeah, I was just such a fan. Like
I think it was from casting to first day shooting. It was 3 months.
Okay. Yeah.
And then he had like a few weeks to get like ready in shape.
Yeah, that's not a lot of time.
No, not enough time at all. I didn't even hate Iron Fist season 1 because it did feel like it felt so small scale in a good way.
Yeah, no, like I watched it like earlier this year, just like rewatched it on my own, and I was like, this isn't bad.
Have you? I can't remember if we've talked about this. Did you watch Ozark?
I didn't finish it. I watched everything up until the last season.
So you saw seeing Ward, Danny's. I can't remember. Were they adopted siblings to him, or were they like? I can't remember the relationship that the brother and sister had to the Rand Corporation.
I think they just worked there. I don't think they were related.
But they'd known each other since they were kids.
Yeah.
Were their parents business partners or whatever?
Yeah,
I think?
yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah, they worked for the Rand Corporation.
Yeah. I knew they were like almost like, kinship to one another. But the brother or whatever playing the brother in Ozark.
Mm-hmm.
What a fucking actor, dude.
Yeah, he's a great actor, and that's why I was looking forward to season 3, seeing him and Danny being buddy
on their Indiana Jones adventure.
Yeah.
I was looking forward to that also. I was looking forward to Iron Fist with guns. That was going to be sick.
But we got robbed. But hopefully, I don't know. Like, obviously, that other stuff doesn't seem likely. But I don't know. I would love it. But okay. Next time we'll be here will be for Agatha All Along, which,
yes,
if I'm being honest, I wasn't even interested. But then I saw like the most recent trailer, and I was like, "Oh, this is." I don't know what I was thinking, but this actually looks kind of fun.
It does look fun.
Yeah,
it does look fun. It's got a pretty good cast too. I can't remember everybody who's in it, but I remember when I saw the trailer being like very surprised at how many people were in it that I wasn't aware of.
Yeah. And also, I'm just a big fan of Agatha, the Catherine Hahn.
Yeah, Catherine Hahn rocks and everything. Have you seen? God, I'm trying to think of the show. It's an HBO show she's in. Yeah, I forgot Aubrey Plaza. I think that was who I didn't realize was going to be in.
I'm not a big fan of her, so I'm being honest.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know.
Mrs. Fletcher. It's an HBO show that Catherine Hahn's in that is pretty uncomfortable, but awesome.
Okay. I'll have to check it out.
You don't like Aubrey Plaza. Why don't you like Aubrey Plaza?
I've watched a lot of things she's been in, but I'm just like, cool. I don't get the hype around her.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing that's bringing hype to Jenna Ortega, honestly.
I don't think I've ever seen anything she's been in.
Jenna Ortega? Or
Jenna Ortega.
I think the first thing that we saw her in was she's in the second season of You on Netflix. The
serial
show
killer?
about the serial killer. Or
Is it
not really serial killer, more like
a
weird
stalker.
stalker guy who happens to kill people every now and then.
And because the last thing I remember about that show was like they like moved into a house, or he moved into like a house.
Yeah,
Is that the end of season 1? Because I don't think I got that far in that series.
I can't remember. I think that's the end of season 2. So I
So
think you've seen.
Oh, is she?
Ortega
Wait,
before.
is she the one who like
She's
she starts getting crazy about him?
She's the one who. No, she's the little teen girl who gets in the weird relationship with that Chris D'Elia comedian, and then everyone found out that Chris D'Elia comedian was a fucking pedophile.
He's an actual pedophile.
And everyone was like, "Oh, well, he sure did play a pedophile great in the show," which shocker.
Okay, I didn't realize that was her.
but,
Okay, now
But
I
yeah, that
remember
was the first thing that we saw her in, because I think that might have been the first thing she is in.
Okay,
And then she's fucking great in that Wednesday series. It's actually pretty good.
yeah, I think like the only thing that I was gonna actually see her in was Beetlejuice whenever that comes out.
Yeah,
Right?
I,
Yeah,
I
sure.
really want to see that.
Yeah,
She's also she's great in the Screams that she's in too. I fucking love the Scream franchise, though.
haven't seen any of the new Screams, even though like Ghostface is like my favorite like horror
Dude, they're
person.
awesome.
Okay.
Did you like the last fuck? I can't remember whichever one was like the first like revival one that they made
I
like years later.
never saw like since Scream Kids come back, I haven't seen any of them.
Well, because it came back like 10 years ago.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen because I'm always scared. Like,
Which was the last one you saw?
it was like 3 or 4.
3? Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, we rewatched all of them. Like, because Ashton had never seen any,
Okay.
and I'm trying to remember which. I'm trying to remember which one. Yeah, because there's Scream 1, Scream 2, Scream 3. And then, yeah, okay, Scream 4 was 2011. So there's an 11-year break between Scream 3 and Scream 4. You haven't seen Scream 4?
No.
I fucking love Scream 4, dude.
Okay.
It's fucking awesome. And then they did Scream.
The reboot, or is it a reboot? Or, okay.
Yeah, 2022. And then they did Scream 6. Which is awesome. I feel like Scream should adopt the Fast and the Furious movie naming like method, which is just complete nonsense.
Makes
I think we
sense.
went over this when we talked about the Fast and the Furious movies that one time. How like Ashton showed me some TikTok where someone's going over how like nonsense all the Fast and the Furious movies are named. Just there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's awesome. Keep it up.
All right. Well, Agatha airs later this month.
Yeah, I'll be in Japan when it starts.
Yeah, that is exciting. I'm looking forward to hearing about all of your stories from Japan. Hopefully, you guys have a great time.
It should be. I hope. Hopefully, nothing traumatic happens.
Yeah, hopefully not. Hopefully, you just go
Knock
have
on
fun.
wood. All I can think about is how many things can go wrong, but we'll see.
Okay. Well, I could keep going, but once again, I know you have an out, so I don't want to get too deep into other stuff.
I was going to say, I probably have at least 20 or so more minutes that I can chat around. What have you been doing lately that's cool?
You know, I just got back from Wilkes-Barre, and
What show were you out there for?
So Caleb, owns a Bizarre skate shop, with some of his buddies, and they do an end of summer skate jam every year for like the past 3 years. The first one I saw on the internet, I was like, how the fuck did this even not get shut down? This is crazy. Second year happened. I'm like, holy shit, that's fucking awesome. I should have gone. So this year, year 3, I was like, all right, I'm going like no matter what. So I went, and I went out there with the intention of buying this recorder, which is actually behind me. Let me show you. So I bought this recorder. It's like an H6 Zoom, and the reason why it's like so cool is because it helps me capture audio, like live audio, better. But this was sold to me by Jeff from Feet First Productions.
Oh, nice.
Who's a good friend. But he told me that the lore behind it is that this piece of equipment was used to record the last live title fight set that happened in Amityville, and it also recorded the Floral Green record release. So I was very happy that he was able to part ways with that and let me use it. But he kind of told me last minute, he's like, I'm just going to the skate jam. I'm not filming it like you are. I'm like, what are you talking about? I am. I was like, I've never done this before. And he's like, don't worry. He's like, you'll be fine. He's like, I'll give you a quick rundown on how to use the equipment and you'll be fine. So I filmed the whole skate jam. There's like 5 videos on my YouTube channel, which was like pretty nerve wracking because like I felt like people were like looking at me like, that's not Feet First. Who the fuck is that guy? Because like nobody knows me out there except for like my friends.
Yeah.
But got positive feedback. It was cool. And then
awesome.
I just filmed my second show out here. Cut Down from New Jersey was in town. They're on tour with In Time because they're touring up to this fest in Seattle. So hung out with Cut Down, and then I filmed the whole show at Program, which was like pretty cool.
That's awesome.
So that's like the newest thing that I'm doing on top of like the podcast.
You're filming shows now.
Yeah, I'm filming shows now.
God damn.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's a lot of work. Like I give respect to everything that Jeff does because I'm there. I'm like 2 bands in, and like my arms are hurting. I'm like hoping everything sounds good. But
Dude, I understand why Sonny has that weird like arm sleeve thing he wears because I can't imagine how tiring that would be just to keep your fucking hand up like that for so fucking long.
Yeah, it's crazy. But that's like the newest stuff that I've been up to besides, still doing the podcast and, same shit.
That's sick. Yeah. Shout out to Jeff. I saw the LDB Fest videos are finally starting to get posted.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm excited. I know it wasn't his fault that took so long, but I'm really glad to start seeing some of them.
Yeah, it was fun to be able to watch some of those sets over again and be like, holy shit, like that whole weekend. Cause like that was my first time out there, first time at that fest. So just to be able to see it again, I was like, that shit was crazy. So many people there.
Yeah, dude. It's so fucking nuts. Watching the Twitching Tongues video was cool. Seeing just like how far back the crowd goes once you reach the point where you can't see any more crowd. And it's like, there's just so many fucking people. So sick. I can't remember what last time we talked, had those Louder Than LDB shows been announced yet?
No, it hadn't been, but I wanted to ask you about that too, because that seems like a cool thing going on out there.
Yeah. I think it's all sold out now. I can't remember if any there's tickets for any of them, but if anybody can get a ticket and can make it to Louisville for any of the gigs, because Louder Than Life is a fest for like music fans, not hardcore people, but just regular Mountain Dew drinking, hot dog eating music fans. And because hardcore is in its weird moment right now where I don't know if it's marketable, but it's perceived to be marketable. We're ending up with, weirdo hardcore bands being on these giant music fests with Judas Priest and shit. So we tried to get Biohazard for one of the shows, but just couldn't make it work for some reason. So we've got 4 shows. Kubla Khan and Sanguisugabog are playing a show on the Friday of Louder Than Life with Surface from here.
Mm-hmm.
That same night, Walk Alone, my new band, is playing with The Chisel and High Viz at a very small bar, and that show sold out like almost fucking immediately.
Damn, that's an awesome lineup.
It's a crazy lineup. I'm and by its crazy lineup, I mean it's my band that is fine with two of my favorite fucking bands right now. So I'm very fucking stoked for that. And then Saturday's Pain of Truth with, for some reason, Colin got E-Town Concrete is going to come down and play.
Okay, some New Jersey flavor.
I've never seen E-Town before, so I'm excited. But Pain of Truth, E-Town, Holy Blade is flying out.
That's insane. They're a sick band.
And, yeah, and Two Witnesses is playing. I think that's it. I think it's the only 4-band show.
Okay.
So I'm stoked. I'm stoked to hang out with Mac Miller. I fucking love him. And everybody else in Holy Blade is cool too.
So how does this all come together? Like,
so, I mean, it's kind of like with, I guess sort of like the Lollapalooza and Riot Fest and like a lot of like these bigger cities are getting these crazy big fests. The bands of our scene are playing these fests to hot dog eating, Mountain Dew drinking music fans, and they don't get to play shows to people who actually come to see them.
uh-huh.
So the desire is there for these bands to play like a show that's fun, that's not just them on a big stage playing to people that they very well could be winning over, or very well could just be mildly annoying. And the market's there, I guess, for people who are in the town who don't feel like going to the Mountain Dew drinking, hot dog eating music fan festival and would rather go see like a small show of these bands playing. So yeah, it just Colin talked to all the bands and worked it out with the festival to not like throw a fit, I guess, over it, like figuring there's enough here that people won't be pulled any direction, and also like announcing it like a month out from the festival didn't like deter somebody who had already gotten tickets to the festival.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, so it's they did like a weekend pass thing that gets you into all the shows if you want to come. And Sunday is Drug Church, Narrowhead, and this band 97 Flood. That's Jared, who plays drums in Two Witnesses, his emo band. But yeah, I'm fucking stoked, dude. I've been wanting to see High Vis play again ever since the first time I saw them, and got a very like lackluster response from the crowd. And then at Furnace Fest, seeing them play on a giant stage while I was the one person going the craziest to it, I wanted to see them with a group of people who are as excited to see them as I am. And I at least know a few people that show will be, so I won't be the lone lunatic.
Yeah, and I think it's really cool too, because like so many bands from our bubble in your area in one weekend that's not like a traditional fest. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, I wish we could do things like this more, do like just like small series of shows. And I guess this is something we're going to try to start doing every year around Louder Than Life, is doing this like, I don't know, like co-sharing some of these bands that they can get to come out. That, I mean, it's all to the benefit. I mean, it's to the benefit of Louder Than Life too, because for them to let something like this happen, that's some goodwill they're getting from our scene. That if I think they just figure they've got enough thousands of people coming to this festival. I mean, we went last year. It was the same weekend as Furnace Fest, so we only got to go for the Thursday.
Uh-huh.
And then I woke up Friday and went to Birmingham. But the Thursday we got to see White Reaper and Rancid and Weezer and some of the Foo Fighters. And I mean, it's not my scene. My scene is not standing out in the sun in a gravel pit with no shade, nowhere to sit for hours on end for bands that play for 40 plus minutes. But it was cool to see some of those bands. Seeing we got to sneak on stage for Rancid and watch from the side of the stage, and that was my first time seeing Rancid, so I was having a me and Mo from Two Witnesses were being the most annoying people on the stage the whole time. We were singing and hugging each other and being very embarrassing. It was fun. But yeah, no, I honestly kind of wish I could go to the fest because I would like to see some of the things that are planned. It'd be cool to see Biohazard again, but with the shows going on, I know I'm going to be needed elsewhere. So I'm unfortunately not going to see any of the crazy wacky bands that they get to play live in life. I was planning on going just to see the Chisel and High Vis play in a weird circumstance, but now I'll just get to see them play under the best conditions.
And, Coachella happened not too far from here. And years ago, they weren't so strict with like radius clause. So leading up to Coachella, like Orange County and surrounding areas, there was always some cool shows happening just because, these artists who aren't on tour or who normally aren't in the area are able to play some of the local venues that they would never play at regularly. So that was like one cool thing, like leading up to Coachella was like, oh cool, like I get to see the Postal Service at the Fox Theater or shit like that. But then just over the years, like they've gotten like way more strict on it and shit like that doesn't happen anymore. So
it's to the benefit of no one.
Yeah.
To the benefit of no one. It's I don't know. It's really it's the same thing we're talking about when it comes to the problems with these movies. It's this idea of mass marketing and needing that exclusivity. And I'm sorry, but like the best thing for everyone is to make things available to as many people as possible at whatever I don't know, just not being greedy with it, dude. Letting like it's only to the detriment of bands. I mean, this was like I know everybody jumped off of the South by Southwest train this year because of all the stuff over Israel and Gaza, which is something I didn't really ever think about until maybe I want to say like 5 or 6 years ago. I didn't think about what South by Southwest even was and where the money from South by Southwest comes from. I knew some of like the weird quirks, like you're not allowed to sell merch and things like that. Like you just come and you play your show. If you're going to sell any merch, it's got to be like off the premises or whatever. And it's because they wanted to provide this weird like tech bro experience where they could just like, it's all this frictionless Uber experience where you get to go around and party, and it was a way to reward all these finance and tech guys for moving from the Silicon Valley to Austin and giving them a way to like have the bands that they like come and like party and have fun with them. But you're also like doing it in a way that like doesn't benefit the bands very much because they're not allowed to sell their merch or records or anything. So like that's shitty. And then when I realized, I was like, oh, fucking the reason why they're able to fucking do this is because a lot of the money invested in this is money that comes from like the missiles that we make, because it's so funded by all these weapons manufacturers and whatnot, because that's what the tech industry really is in America, is most of its weapon manufacturers. I was like, damn. And I remember spending every year seeing the South by Southwest lineups come out, seeing like some bands from our world represented in that. And that little bit of me in the back of my mind that is like the ugliest part of me, playing in bands that nobody cared about until Inclination, basically. And always being like, damn, like that little bit of like jealousy and like missing out, like, fuck, like, God, that would be so cool to play that. It'd be so cool to play that. And then like 5 years ago, I was like, fucking thank God I never got a chance to play that shit. Like, never mind. Like, I would rather play something that's put on by our world, for our world, and with no investments that are involved in something that is so fucking ugly and gross to me. Like, given I didn't think too hard about it when Inclination played, the FYA at the JCC, but if I had thought a little bit harder about it at that time, or, you know, and that was 2020. I did care about a lot of the issues that people are having now, but just, it just didn't hit my brain to think, you know, for one more second about stuff as much then. Now I think for one more second about more things. And, you know, nobody can be like held accountable to like the things they didn't know at the time, or the things that had not occurred to them at the time. That's like shitty and sucks. And like to do like purity tests or like requirements. This isn't me like, you know, throwing my hands on like throwing myself in like the mercy of the court of public opinion that like don't cancel me for something I didn't think about 4 years ago. But at the same time, like I don't know. I hate seeing anybody act like they are so much holier and so much smarter than everyone else, because all you do when you do shit like that is you de-incentivize people to care about the things that you care about. And I know that for a fact because I did not give a shit about a lot of the Occupy stuff, because my roommate at the time was the most annoying motherfucker in the world, and that was all he talked about. And there's a lot politically and, you know, I don't know, like theoretically that I agree with as far as all that stuff went at that time. But because it was being presented to me from people who were, I don't know, fake poor, I just didn't have any patience for anybody trying to talk down to me like that. And I don't know. I just wish we would, like, rather than talking down to each other about not being on the same page or like as smart and great, we could, I don't know, just be a little more supportive of each other. Like if you've got an issue with where a venue or where a show is being booked or what's happening, you can book your own show, or you can reach out and you can try to help them find another venue, or like do something. Like bitching about shit on the internet is like just not going to change anything, dude. It's I don't know. Hardcore's been really ugly lately as far as that goes. I'm not liking it.
Can I tell you about this story about this indie game developer?
Let's go.
So there's this person online tweeting about how they love pirating indie games, right? Which, you know, indie games made by small developers. They also don't have like the backing of like these major corporations. So this guy was tweeting about how he loves pirating these indie games, and then he like put up a link to go, you know, download this company's game for free. And it was from this company called Ultrakill. And one of the devs responded probably in like the best way possible. He just like replied him on Twitter and was like, "Yo, it's fine." And I'm reading the tweets, that's what I'm looking down. It said, "It's fine to pirate my game if you don't have money to spare. Culture shouldn't exist only for those who can afford it."
That is fucking awesome.
Yeah, so I think about that a lot.
And that is honestly, not only is that an incentive for people to want to support you, but it's going to make everybody who already was feel so much fucking better about it. Like, that's the thing. Like, I don't know. I think just like, it's one of those, I mean, that honestly, that like hearing something like that, like makes me feel, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's an awesome response.
Well, cause it's like I mean, that, not to make everything about me, but that's like one of the things that, Fruition song that we wrote for the AHC comp, for the Triple B comp. Fruition is about like what it feels like to like put your faith and your hope and your belief in someone and then be like right about it. Like that rewarding feeling of like looking at somebody who like you think is going to do some good, or you think they're worth you caring about or investing yourself either emotionally or financially or whatever in, and them showing you that they were deserving of that faith. And that's just a good feeling. And I wish people, like, rather than like looking for like the thing to like expose that's so like evil and nefarious about each other, we looked for like the things that like, I don't know, can like make us feel like hopeful about being alive. like, and lucky to be. Like, I don't know. Like, because there's just so many ugly shit. Like, I mean, with what's going on with the election, and we're gonna vote for your wonderful senator, former senator. I will do that gladly over your current fucking governor. I know that motherfucker thinks he's gonna get to run for president at some point.
Jeez, if he if he ever were to win, we're all doomed.
I would much rather fucking vote for her than him. But I have that moment where I'm like, well, fuck, like, you think she could just do the same shit that Biden was doing? She could do the same shit that Obama did. In the back of your mind, it's not going to be as bad as what Trump's going to do, and that sucks. It sucks, and we shouldn't be left with these choices between like things getting worse or things getting not as bad. Like, there should be the option of things getting better, and that like gives me somewhat hope that somebody like her VP pick, wonderful coach Tim Walz, seems to be the first good person who could be within reach of the presidency since Jimmy Carter, and that gives me somewhat hope that like that influence will be there. And at the end of the day, like, I think about it and I'm like, well, Harris is going to be bad for how friendly she is with tech people and how friendly she is with cops and all that bullshit, but I think things won't get worse for gay people, and that sucks that that's where we're at. And if there are certain people in power or reaching for power that if they do get into power, they're going to make things insufferable for gay and trans people. And we're going to be doing that thing where they are looking backwards at a time that they want to go back to, yet completely blind to how bad it was for certain people at that time, and completely unwilling to accept the fact that like, and these are the same people who say facts don't care about your feelings and shit. And that's like, just a bullet, dude. Bullet for all of them.
Only if it were that easy. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting, rest of the year.
Yeah, I was on the way home. Me and my dad and my buddy Scott, who used to book like 90% of the shows in Louisville, we went and saw, and my dad's girlfriend, we went and saw Steve Earle in Lexington the other day. And on the way home, his girlfriend asked me, was like, how do you feel about Kamala? And I just went off for like 10 straight minutes. And I was like, and basically just said all that just without taking like a single breath. And afterwards I was like, I'm sorry, Linda, just, you're the first person to really ask me that I think wanted to hear what I had to say. And yeah, that's it. It's I heard the term recently. What was it? It was I can't remember the word now. It was like I'm blanking on it now. It was the word was skeptimistic. It was like, I'm skeptical, but I'm also like optimistic about it. Cautiously skeptimistic. That's what it was.
Okay.
Cautiously skeptimistic. And I agree with that. That's how I feel right now. I'm like incredibly skeptical of anything that anybody's saying because I won't believe it until they're actually in power. But I am like slightly optimistic, but I'm very cautious about it. I feel like we're in an 08 or a 16 situation again, where we're either going to end up with Obama and thinking it's going to get better and it doesn't, or we're going to end up with Trump and we're going to be annoyed all the time. I heard somebody on a podcast talk about one of their relatives after Trump got shot. This is a person who is like non-political, like doesn't really care, but probably more conservative leaning. And when they like talk to their, like the person who was talking is like a lefty loser like me. but their relative is like a conservative normie. And after Trump got shot, their response was, "It's always something with this guy, isn't it?" It's like, that's, to me, I think that is truly why he lost to Joe Biden. It's because even the people who liked him and who like agreed with some of the jingoistic policies and like awful shit that the Republicans are trying to do, at the end of the day, they reached a point where they were like, "God, it's always something with this guy, isn't it?" And that's just like, I get it that like everybody wants to go back to brunch and stop caring and paying attention to the world, but like, we got to stay mad or it's never going to get any better. And you got to be mad at the right people.
Yeah,
it's not DEI.
Do you think Trump will lose again?
I think he could. I think Biden would have lost.
Yeah.
But I think Kamala can win.
Interesting.
Yeah. The Vance thing, the JD Vance thing is like one of the stupidest political decisions that anybody's ever made. And it makes sense that it was Don Jr.'s advice.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of Kamala. Obviously, I'm not a Trump supporter either. So it's just like, geez, yeah.
I might hate JD Vance as a person and politician more than any other one in America.
Okay.
I don't think like there's a lot of politicians that I think deserve to be beaten every single day, and I think he might be like at the top of the list. The Peter Thiel stuff is just way too icky. Nobody should be running for national office with the backing of somebody who wants to live forever.
Good old Peter Thiel. He was on Rogan not too long ago. It was very interesting to hear him speak for that long.
That's crazy. I can't believe that he would do that because that guy hates to be in the spotlight.
Yeah, I know. That's why when I saw his name, I was like, no way is this like the Peter Thiel. So it was definitely pretty interesting.
I mean, it's probably because he knew he was safe going on Rogan and wasn't going to be challenged on anything.
I don't know.
Joe Rogan's what's wrong with America right now, honestly.
What are you talking about? I love Rogan.
I liked him. I liked him until he stopped having anybody who I liked him till he stopped having anybody on there who lives in an actual real tangible way, and he only talks to people who are completely disconnected from real life, and he won't stop having people who are friends with Nazis on. And that's where I'm like, I had this discussion with my buddy Scott at the Steve Earle show. He was asking me why I didn't like Rogan, and I was just like, and then I was just like, dude, I was like, I know how close I was to like falling into like watching him constantly when I had my knee surgery, because I was watching all his Henry Rollins interviews and his Kevin Smith interviews, him talking to Gary Clark Jr. and Chris Stapleton and all these people I like. And then I started, when I was scrolling through, just seeing how many times he talks to fucking Jordan Peterson. And I was like, I didn't really know who he was yet. And then I found out, and I was like, And I remember one of the first times we talked, you mentioned the Dan Crenshaw thing, and I remembered then seeing that Dan Crenshaw had been on there, and that's a fucking red flag. That guy is a Nazi. Like, he's not like a real Nazi.
Yeah.
But he's real close to him. He's tight with him. He almost has like kind of turned away of, I think, in the same way that like Richard Spencer has, in like this like I've got to like button it up and like try to act like I'm not as like for like, you know, murdering Mexicans as like, you know, the Marjorie Taylor Greens are, but like you still thought it at one point. You just realized that it was like making you look like a jug hooter if you said that too loud. And I don't know. That's my issue with Rogan. I just think he lost his mind over COVID.
Which part?
Just the white fucking like the feeling, like the white victimhood. It's embarrassing. It's fine. It's fine to be a white guy in America.
Mm-hmm.
I'm under no threat. He sees things on the internet and he believes them. He is just as intelligent as anybody's Facebook uncle. White Facebook uncle, specifically. Which is, I know because I have several white Facebook uncles. And they tell me things and I go, that's not real. That's not happening. Wherever you saw that person lied to you. And it's just, I don't know. You can put anything on the internet.
It's true.
And people just believe what they see on it. It's the same. It's this boomer mentality of they grew up in a time when like the news was something they trusted. So you learn to just like trust information without verifying any of it. And then when, and then I say this all to say the news was bought by the oil industry in the 70s and 80s and 90s. Each news organization basically had their oil benefactor that paid them to suppress any of the stories that of like catastrophes that happened, all the harm that they were doing in South American countries, and also any research that was coming out that would combat their line on climate change. So there's good fucking reason to not trust the news. But there's and I had this discussion with a coworker recently because he's a big Rogan guy, and I was catching the feeling he's a big Jordan Peterson fan too. And I was like, dude, I don't care what you watch or what you believe, but whatever it is, you got to think of who's monetarily benefiting from you thinking that. And if the people who are benefiting from that are the people in power, and the people who are being harmed by that are people with no power, then you're being fucking scammed. And I was like, in every second that you believe that and then pass that shit along to other people and enhance the ability for those lies to be trusted and believed, you are being fucking scammed. And that scam is that they can continue to treat you shittier and shittier. And I basically had to explain the Southern strategy to them, what George Wallace and what Nixon did to the South, where they convinced all the white people to vote for conservatives with the promise that at least we'll make sure the black people are doing worse than you are. And that's it. That's how you separate the working class, dude. You convince people that, yeah, your life's going to suck. It's going to get harder. But trust me, the people you don't like, their life's going to get even fucking worse. And they're doing it right now with trans people. And anybody who's spreading this shit, I mean, Joe Rogan did this shit with the Olympic boxer. He was part of the talking incorrectly about that. He corrected himself on it, but a lot of the people who he brings on his show didn't.
Yeah.
And that's my issue with Joe Rogan. It's the fact that he wants to claim that he's a fan of combat sports, yet he is actively engaged in supporting people involved in disinformation regarding something that is the thing that they claim is under threat. They claim that allowing trans people to be involved in sports is going to harm women. Meanwhile, these people are out there harming women, cis women, by using this whole ginned up fear that they have over that. When, what the fuck, dude, a trans woman swimming in a fucking meet doesn't allow me to have free healthcare, or isn't helping me get free healthcare. Like, none of these things are like actually tangible to my real life that would help me or anybody in my family or like any of my loved ones. So like, why would I give a shit about this? It's a distraction. It's an obvious one too, but it's so fucking easy to talk to people who like feel like everything's just so unfair. And in that way, you can be like, well, sports should be fair. And wouldn't it make sense that like, and it's like, yeah, that does make sense. But at the end of the day, like, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't fucking matter. What's not fair is how many thousands of children are killed in Gaza. That's not fucking fair. Those people don't give a shit about that. And that's just, I don't know, just all the performative outrage is just so fucking whack. And like, I'm like actually outraged about like so many things, but there ain't nothing I can do about it. So I'm not going to shame somebody for not caring, but I'm also going to be very disappointed in people who are like, I don't know, like being a part of the problem. I'm at least not going to try to be part of the problem. I don't know. I don't know. That's where I stand on Rogan. And it sucks because I did like him. I liked him a lot. I loved the way he would talk to guests. I loved the way he would hear stories. But the second he started having people who weren't authorities on anything come on like they are, that sucks.
I still listen to every episode, but these days I'm just more drawn to the UFO stuff.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Conspiracy theories, see, here's the thing with conspiracy theories. They are fun and they are awesome when they aren't about whether or not a person is a man or a woman, and when they aren't actively tricking people into like getting like so I had this fucking thought today. I was listening to a podcast about Anastasia. Anastasia Romanoff, and like basically like the cartoon and the story and everything everybody's supposed to believe about, you know, the Romanovs getting killed and how it was so sad. And do I think it was so sad that the Tsar and his wife and children were murdered by the Bolsheviks? Yes. Part of me also believes that telling this story about these mean communists killing this royal family, as a person who's lived in America, who's grown up under anti-communist propaganda my entire life, I'm like, was the Anastasia cartoon a way to get children into like anti-communism? A way to implant in our brains as children that it was wrong for the Russian Revolution to happen and overthrow the Tsar, completely ignoring all of the Jewish people who were murdered under the Tsar in pogroms, and all the workers who were like protesting and going out in the streets and demanding like an end to the famine that they were in. And then the Tsar had all these people killed who were mad about the conditions of their everyday life. I'm supposed to ignore all of that and just feel bad that this family got murdered by people who were rightly outraged at the system that they had been oppressed under. I'm sorry. I don't care. But when you're a little kid or you're a little girl and you're finding out this Russian princess who was like had to hide away and was in all this danger and whatnot, that engenders an empathy towards this person, which they do deserve because they're a human being and every human being deserves empathy. But it also makes it a lot easier for you to be like, oh, those dirty communists. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just hyper aware of like anytime somebody's trying to fucking trick me. And I always assume if something feels off, someone's trying to trick me. And at the end of the day, I'm like, well, if I am tricked, who does it benefit? Who does it help? Who does it hurt? And at the end of the day, if that's like hurting anybody I care about, then I'm not going to fucking believe it. I'm not going to buy it. I don't care. That's not. So I don't know. So that's where I don't know, a lot of that shit. And it scares me how big Rogan's platform is, that he can be so influential on so many people. I mean, not, you know, you're obviously a very smart person. My coworker that I talked to the other day is not.
Yeah.
And clearly was having different takeaways from some of these conversations he's listened to.
Yeah. I love Rogan. But I feel like I've been listening long enough to know to obviously not just be like, all right,
not get your medical advice from Joe.
Yeah. I still like to, do research and still think for myself. I don't go to Rogan to just, be like, all right, this is my my talking points and my, thoughts now. It's like, no, I just go there for conversation.
Yeah. I literally heard my coworker say that there were chips in the vaccine. And I was just like, dude, that's not
That's
Not
so
true.
That's awesome.
I was like, that technology does not exist.
That is so awesome.
I think I remember. I remember I think we said this on a podcast a long time ago. We were talking about the chip thing and the mind control, and I was like, surely if that was real, I wouldn't be as pissed off as I am all the time. Surely they would have done something to make me less mad all the time if they could control my thoughts. Like,
Yeah.
I certainly wouldn't be mad at Bill. I wouldn't certainly still hate Bill Gates and want the worst for him if he was controlling my mind, right?
Yeah, they make you way more compliant.
Yeah. It's like, no, obviously not. I'm madder than ever.
All right.
Oh, man.
All right, let's wrap it up. This has been awesome.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to doing the next one.
Sorry for ranting for so long.
No. That's what these podcasts are for. So no need to apologize. But this was awesome. I'm looking forward to the next one. But anything else you'd like to say before we go?
Good job with the Cosmo interview you did like last month. I listened to that one the other day and
Thank you.
really enjoyed it.
I love Cosmo. I love everything that he does. So huge fan of him. And I'm always thankful that he's still willing to come on and talk to me. So shout out Florida.
Yeah, I reached out to him and hopefully we'll play more shows together because me listening to you guys talk about UFOs.
Okay. All right. I could go on forever about UFOs, but maybe next time. But okay. All right. This has been awesome. I really appreciate your time, Tyler. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and we'll be back next month for the Agatha series and to hear your stories about Japan. So thank you. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.